He was there to receive an honor for it. People were watching him on TV all over the country. T-shirts were even being sold. His friend told Kay to say some nice words in his speech. If he did, she would give him a prize that night. All the most important people were there. Then, the world's best hunter sighed and said, "I don't care about this. The only thing I cared about was making money." Everyone was in shock. Kang Yuun wants to live his own way. If that goes against the rules, he doesn't mind taking on everyone. One day, the peaceful world ended. Every normal person saw a system window appear in front of them. Then, the sky turned red. Giant towers covered the sky all over the world. They floated in the sky and various creatures emerged from within them. All the monsters went after the humans. An orc was about to attack a young woman, threatening to ruin her makeup. It was on this day that the first person who decided to fight the monsters appeared. Humanity would not go down without a fight. If the world was turning into a game, they would be the players. Some people used their powers to protect others as much as possible. The new rules of the world were announced. All the towers had to be destroyed before they could breach, and the monsters inside could escape to attack the planet. The strongest players became famous quickly for their power and determination, but now the stance of the strongest of them all had shaken the world. The protagonist was at home watching what people were saying about him. Many of them are his fans and don't understand why he said what he said. They said they were going to boycott him and wouldn't buy any of his t-shirts. Kang went to the window and saw that reporters had decided to camp out in front of his house. Kang decided to go out and give them some motivating words. He told them they needed to realize the danger that was near. None of them knew what he meant, until a huge tremor knocked them all down. They looked up at the sky and saw the towers over the city. As the tower breach gets closer, the floating tower gets closer and closer to the ground. Their mission was simple: attack the tower and save the world from destruction. Only Kang remained completely calm. He just handed out some flyers and left. He soon arrived at his spot. There are no rats here, he thought, just as he predicted. The first day of the new season was quiet. His system then pinged. Most of the monarchs were delighted to see the contractor of the clown monarch. The iron monarch was practically laughing, giving his blessing to someone who had set aside his sword. The monarch of the snowstorm also laughed, bestowing her blessing on the one who brought the mirror. Kang simply shrugged, telling them to keep laughing. His system then pinged again. His aptitude for swordsmanship improved, and his magic ability also increased. These weren't random increases. They meant something. Just like in the UN Hall, he was here to get rewards from these transcendent beings, these monarchs who loved watching players like him. Next, his system activated. The monarch of Golden Legends was laughing his head off, blessing the one he chooses. Legends. This specific blessing came with a ton of benefits. Kang Yuun wanted all those benefits right now. His system chimed. The one who chooses Legends had a huge impact on a player's build. Just like that, he got some legendary equipment. It was a black cloak with a golden cross called Golden Fanaticism, with impressive stats. Kang now had a legendary defensive item, a heroic rank skill, and a heroic rank artifact. He was all set to raid the tower, but then his system showed another alert. The monarch of Golden Legends had just revoked his blessing for the one who chooses Legends. Instead, he blessed Kang Yuun's t-shirt business. Kang Yuun entered the tower and immediately ran into enemies. This place was filled with Moon-Blood Orcs. His mission: defeat the orc boss waiting on the highest floor. Kang wondered if now was the perfect time to test his heroic rank skill. His ability had some incredible attributes. He activated the frozen sword, further increasing his compatibility with ice. That triggered an additional effect: cold breath. Kang gave a quick thank you to the monarch of the blizzard, then unleashed his new skill. Ice storms erupted from him, engulfing the orcs and freezing huge groups of them solid. The enemies completely outnumbered him, but they couldn't fight back against Kang Yuun. He freezes them all and moves forward. His system immediately displays rewards. He absolutely clears the first floor, even wondering if he'll have to save the world again. The system announces the second floor. Kang Yuun arrives and finds a large horde of orcs already setting up camp. He's surprised. Suddenly, an orc spots him. They shout that the warrior is here and will lead them to Valhalla. They're ready to fight with honor and die. Kang Yuun simply tells them to wait, because he's sending them straight to paradise. Shortly after, the fight is completely over. He reaches the fourth floor, pleased with all the levels he's gained. His only complaint is that there are no rest stops between floors. As he's thinking this, a system alert flashes. The Warsong Guardians are blocking the entrance to the boss room. He thinks this is perfect. It's the ideal way to draw them all in to face the elite monster that he is. Right after, his system announces that the King of Steel has blessed the Warsong Guardians. The orcs feel this power boost and get ready, shouting that Valhalla awaits them. They want to chase the warrior who will lead them there. They sing a hymn of blood and steel, all for the King of Steel. Kang Yuun notices his enemies aren't even giving him a chance to breathe. But he doesn't care. He attacks anyway. In the middle of the fight, he notices something new. An enemy charges at him with pure fury, forcing Kang Yuun to back off for a second. Still, he keeps fighting tirelessly, but then he realizes his attacks aren't doing enough damage. This must be an elite warrior, which means he's resistant to ice. Kang Yuun falls back to reconsider his strategy. He needs a fatal blow, but he doesn't have the right skill for that at the moment. With his current gear and stats, he's basically in the semi-final class. The icing on the cake is the frozen sword. It's a heroic rank skill and a heroic artifact. Kang Yo-sung opens his inventory. He's not sure if he can handle using this item, however. The system warns that there's a great risk involved, but then the message changes, reminding him that those who don't act can't go to Valhalla. Without hesitation, the enemies throw their axes. Kang Yo-sung decides there's no time to hesitate. He activates his artifact, the Frozen Heart. Instantly, the essence of a powerful ice magic surges. His equipped skill cards now boosted his ice effects. Was Kang willing to settle for scraps when he could have a goldmine of items? The enemies shouted that war was war, attacking him with everything they had, but they never saw his ice armor coming. Not only that, but his attacks became much stronger, allowing him to crush his enemies and level up at the same time. Kang was much stronger. He now used his ice sword, blocking every blow. He froze enemies mid-fight, even shattering some of their weapons. He became relentless, leveling up with each defeated foe. The orcs didn't like this. They kept attacking, but Kang counterattacked with all his might, sending enemies flying. He could even conjure multiple ice weapons. Now, an enemy noticed him, but before it could react, Kang finished it off. His agility was incredible. The enemies could barely see him move. Kang declared the floor cleared, saying the stats were all wrong. With only one orc left, he landed the final blow, wiping out all the enemies and leveling up again. His system showed a reward package with random skill cards and 1,000 conquest points. He checked the new card, a skill called Stab. He wasn't thrilled with it, but admitted it was better than nothing. He equipped it and its effects shot up. He moved to the next floor and found a girl surprised that he was still alive. Kang apologized for not dying, but the girl said it was great. She could only sell items if he was alive. She was standing behind the Mechanical Gear King, a vending machine. She told him to use everything he had collected before he died. He asked to see the item list. The girl insisted that a legendary card would pop out if he bought a pack. He told her he believed her, but first bought a speed potion and a fire potion. The girl kept insisting he buy card packs, but Kang just ignored her and left. He reached the final boss floor. The boss asked if it was time for war, telling him to fight with honor and die. The boss attacked. Kang raised a magic shield. Kang wondered if he had just been fighting dwarves and orcs this whole time. Kang threw a fire potion, engulfing the enemy in flames, but it wasn't enough. The boss escaped through the fire, but Kang declared it wasn't over. With icy slashes from his sword, he attacked, piercing the boss's body and killing it in a single blow. Kang says his blessing makes even a basic skill very strong. But then he notices it's not over. The enemy rises again and his system chimes. Berserk skill activated. Kang just scoffs, saying the game is too easy, it's no fun. At all. The final boss returns, vowing to finish off Kang, which only makes Kang even more annoyed by this persistent enemy. Kang knows that a shockwave alone could be lethal if it connects, but that's a big if. The enemy attacks, but Kang dodges with incredible agility. The boss tries to strike him relentlessly, but Kang effortlessly dodges every blow. Meanwhile, Kanaba was secretly counting the seconds. As soon as his mental timer hit 0, he announced, "It's time." He takes another potion he bought earlier and completely destroys the boss. His system instantly congratulates him on his victory, granting him a card pack and recognizing him as the first to defeat that K tower. He admits it's almost scary how well things are going. He opens his reward, already guessing it's not the best loot. Still, he checks the first card, Supercun, exactly what he expected. He immediately dismisses it as total trash. After a while, Kang heads to the tower of the demon-worshipping imps. The enemies immediately spot him and group up, ready to attack. Kang calmly waits for them all to get closer, then hits them with a huge ice attack, freezing as many as possible. He's having a lot of fun, mostly just trying to level up his skills. He easily clears this wave of enemies, and then a new one begins. This time, even more imps appear, but to Kang, it seems completely insignificant. Kang tells the enemies he'll be able to defeat them all without any difficulty, and he keeps his word. His powerful ice skills easily defeat every adversary. Not only that, but his ice skills are leveling up quickly. Then, suddenly, his system announces, the tower boss has appeared. The heretic boss boasts that he will honor the Demon King by spilling Kang's blood. The imp leader orders his loyal followers to attack Kang, but they are all instantly defeated. Kang's ice magic is far stronger than anything they can throw at him. Kang's system confirms that the tower boss now has the chilled status effect. Kang says this enemy appeared at the perfect time for him to test something. His system reveals a bonus. The glacial synergy reinforcement effect has increased both the number and types of additional ice weapons he can create. This means Kang can now create even more chilling weapons than before. He decides to try it out right away, conjuring an entire barrage of ice spears and launching them at the remaining enemies. The imps were already in trouble, but now they're just helpless, frozen punching bags. Kang shows no mercy, completely clearing the tower and earning some interesting bonuses along the way. One of the bonuses is an equipment ticket, but it's pretty useless, since he already has a legendary item. Kang notices something cool. His frozen sword remains strong, no matter how many pieces he splits it into. With 8 blades, it doesn't feel much different for now, but then the system pops up, telling him to greet his shadow. It turns out one of the tower's factions is very interested in his recent performance. The system gives him a full rundown on this mysterious group, and next thing you know, he's meeting the Dark Council. The boss of the council recognizes him and asks if Kang wants to meet his shadow again and join their whispers. Kang thinks that sounds pretty good. He tells them he'd love to join right away, but there are a bunch of other factions out there that are eager to destroy the Dark Council. The leader replies that a veil will cover Kang too and asks if he has forgotten the dark power. Kang quickly says, no way. He only mentioned it because he knows exactly how that power operates. He figures words alone won't get him what he wants. Kang takes action. He demands a Shadow Beast, and if they can manage that, they might as well throw in a rare Dark Element skill card. The Shadow Leader warns him not to be so flippant about his own existence, because as a mortal, his time in this world is fleeting. Kang replies that there's no way he can work with them then. He's done so much for everyone, and they won't even return the favor. He declares they will never meet again, but the leader in the shadows won't let him go that easily. Reluctantly, the leader agrees to Kang's demands, and just like that, a system message suddenly appears for Kang. He's got a Shadow Beast, plus a special achievement for adopting a cat and a cool 100,000 achievement points. Kang has almost gotten used to these amazing system surprises, but wait, that was only one of his demands. He still wanted that rare Shadow skill card. Once he receives his card, Kang finally agrees to join the Dark Council. His affinity with them instantly increases. Leaving the council, he starts thinking this season is going to be epic. He should push forward while things are going well. Or maybe, just maybe, he should stop now while he's feeling amazing and focus on recovering. As these thoughts swirl, someone suddenly calls out to him. Kang sighs, already bracing himself for whatever comes next. Boom! A mob of reporters shows up surrounding him for an interview. They've already heard about his latest achievements, but Kang is totally exhausted, so he just gives them a bunch of vague answers. The reporters keep pressing for information, asking about his latest actions. They even mention that this season's race is super intense. Kang then asks how many people were actually involved. The reporters tell him it was 5 veterans from the Chinese Party's guild, led by the Swordmaster, but 4 players died in that attack. So, Kang immediately fires back that the guy sounds more like a shield master, since he used human shields. The reporters wonder if he's trying to provoke an enemy with a comment like that. Kang just asks how many people the Swordmaster brought. Someone tells him he was alone. Kang declares the warrior must have been full of energy from day one, but secretly thinks it's foolish to jump into the race so early. Everyone knows the Saint is busy stacking up skills and items first. Besides, the Gravedigger hasn't even joined the game yet. He's focused on getting level 4 items. The reporters ask for his opinion on all this. Kang simply says the warrior, he's crazy. That makes them think he doesn't plan on competing against the Swordmaster, but then he adds that he's crazy too. If he has to choose between being a winning or losing lunatic, he'd rather be the one who wins. He then asks if anyone can help him get to the sea-level tower. Shortly after, Kang finds himself alone. He mutters, there's only one thing stopping him from a glorious victory. He notices that many people are betting on him to win. For Kang, it's no longer just a battle for pride. He knows the Swordmaster is probably already inside, ready to play for keeps. Kang decides to enter the tower. The system immediately displays a mission summary. Kabbalah's Empire, or Rhodia Kingdom. Kang has to fight for the side he believes is more just. He quickly realizes the commies are all about imperialism. Even if he had to choose, he would go with the kingdom anyway. Why? Because in this game, the underdog always gets the best rewards. So he chooses the Rhodia Kingdom and heads straight for the palace fountain. When he arrives, everyone notices a new player and gets excited with joy. They shout that the visitor is here to save them, but Kang is already thinking strategically. His team tells him the battle is near. He approaches, asking who's in charge. Silence. Then, a man steps forward, calling Kang insolent. He demands to know if Kang will respect the royal laws, especially in front of Lord Mutaduham, the commander, royal heir, and leader of the Dusham Marquisate. Kang immediately asked the leader if they expected to win the battle. The leader confidently said yes, even with scarce resources. He boasted about his own mental fortitude, saying he knew no limits. He also claimed that the men of his kingdom possessed the limitless mindset of hundreds of common people. Kang couldn't stand to hear such nonsense. He punched the man, declaring that he would be giving the orders from now on. The other men seemed quite pleased with this. They weren't happy with their previous leader. After the meeting, Kang had recruited about 5,000 commoners for the infantry. About 900 of these recruits knew how to use a bow. This was a huge difference compared to the Empire's soldiers. The only silver lining in this whole mess was that in this world, there were no grudges or magic. Besides, the Swordmaster wasn't just a player who relied on brute force. He was the apostle of the Iron Monarch. Normally, a standard player could only make a contract with one monarch. Only that monarch could grant them rewards, but Kang was special. He received rewards from multiple monarchs, all thanks to the Clown Monarch, who had transformed him into this unique type of player. A monarch could have many players, but only one player held the title of apostle. That player was heavily favored by their monarch. A monarch would do everything possible to help their apostle. But, of course, there were always restrictions. For the Swordmaster, the skills linked to the Iron Monarch couldn't be used as his main attack. Because of this, Kang didn't think this fight would be so bad, but he knew the soldiers would feel a different kind of pressure. You never really know how much of the world is inside the tower. Tower is real. It was impossible to know if these people were alive or just virtual beings that existed inside the tower. Either way, there was nothing he could do about it. He just needed to find a way to boost the soldiers' morale. Right before the battle, the soldiers' leader announced that a great visitor had arrived in the kingdom of Roya. He also said that Mutadadusham had been removed as commander and that the player himself would now lead them. The soldiers quickly realized their incompetent leader was gone. They saw this as a very good sign. This news alone was enough to lift their spirits, making Kang realize he had worried for nothing, but then he noticed a change in their behavior. One of them reported that the Empire had launched an attack. The archers immediately prepared for action, launching their arrows at the enemies. An archer reported that the Imperial Army's offensive was strong because they were at the front of the gates. He added that subduing them there would break the enemy's advantage. Kang decided that Dart Beast was too much of a mouthful and suggested calling it Blackie instead. Standing next to Blackie, he told the creature to show off its skills. The enemies wondered what they were seeing. They noticed something large and dark on the castle walls. Their leader warned them not to break formation no matter what happened. He notices something strange. Before he can react, Blackie rushes forward, ambushing the enemy. The entire army panics and tries to run. Their leader yells for them to forget the castle and just escape. But before anyone can move, they all freeze in place. Kang says that Blackie was very hungry and it was time for a meal. The dark creature then devours everything in its path. Meanwhile, the remaining enemy forces are still fighting Roya's men. From the rampart, the protagonist continues to attack from a distance. Then he realizes the Swordmaster isn't even there. He explains that a player showing themselves helps allies, but it also reveals their position to enemies. Still, this isn't a fight to the death. Like any other game, the tower has rules. Lose a fight, and you're simply kicked out, making the attack a failure. Players can't kill each other inside, but the tower itself can. The protagonist thinks that he won't die, but losing is still not an option. He starts to understand his opponent's strategy. His allies get a morale boost, but that doesn't guarantee a victory. Time passes, the fight is almost over, but the opponent still hasn't shown up. The protagonist wonders if the enemy will only appear when everyone is dead. Then, something surprising happens. The swords of the fallen soldiers begin to move on their own. Roya's army is confused, but the protagonist knows instantly. He declares that this is the opposing player's move. He moves, wondering how they got a heroic rank skill card. He assumes it could be pure luck, or maybe the monarch himself gave the enemy this power. Kang is attacked, but he easily dodges. He thinks that his adversary has been preparing this whole time, but Kang says he wasn't just sitting around waiting to be attacked either. He adds that it's already too late for his opponent, because his own level up is complete. Suddenly, more enemy soldiers appear, and the protagonist realizes they are all targeting him. The battlefield has truly become a game, but he declares that this won't be enough to defeat him. He also points out that the more swords there are, the less precise their manipulation becomes. Kan summons a magic shield, protecting him from the incoming swords. He warns that if the enemy wants to win, he'll have to try much harder than that. Then, he sees something coming straight for him. He quickly realizes that his main opponent has finally arrived. His system then issues an alert. The Archangel's shield has just reflected the enemy's attack. The reflection creates a blinding flash of light for the enemy, and the shield shatters. Kay, the protagonist, sarcastically asks if his opponent really thought he could take control of the fortress just with sword manipulation. The adversary doesn't know how to respond. He just asks him what it truly means to win in this tower. The adversary declares that even if the fortress falls and everyone in the kingdom dies, the Empire can't truly win unless they defeat Kang. Kay points out that his opponent knew this all along, but still chose this path. He then asks if he really thinks he can win. His opponent firmly agrees, stating that a player is a hero, and a hero's job is to protect the world. He argues that a thug who ignores this duty is not fit to be the hero king. Kang praises his opponent's passionate words. He then asks if this means the members of his own guild aren't part of the world his opponent claims to protect. The adversary is furious. He growls that Kang won't be getting a pretty death. Kan calmly replies that he plans on living much longer, wondering why his opponent is so angry. Their one-on-one duel begins right then, with Kan attacking with everything he has. Kan declares that his opponent's talents are weak and incomplete. The adversary suddenly realizes that Kang is alone. After witnessing Dodge's dark beast, he says the monarchs are watching. He knows Kang isn't foolish enough to hold back and not fight for victory. Kang says it's not exactly what his opponent thinks. He asks why things have to be this way. His adversary replies sharply, calling Kan ignoble and accusing him of using words to exploit psychological weaknesses. But Kan quickly realizes his words are being completely ignored. The adversary sees him leaving and demands to know what he's doing. Then, a chilling realization hits him. Kang's actions from the very beginning, his immediate reveal of his presence, unlike the adversary's stealth, weren't meant to inspire his allies. It was to lure in every single enemy. Desperate, the adversary frantically tries to chase after Kang to stop whatever he's planning. Meanwhile, in the Imperial Army's command room, the officer in charge is frantically discussing how to stop the monster they're facing. He rages, demanding action. His men try to calm him down, but it's too late. Kang appears right there. Kang announces that winning a game isn't limited to a single strategy. The soldiers are stunned to see a player standing before them, wondering if their gods have abandoned them. They know their duty is to protect Duke Barmed, but he doesn't stand a chance. Kang takes them all down with astonishing speed until a new figure steps forward. The rival player watches as Kang effortlessly cuts down the Imperial soldiers. He absolutely hates what he's seeing. Kang comments that his opponent should have stripped the officers and hidden among the regular soldiers. He tells his adversary that all he needs to do is stop the Empire's advance. Surely his opponent already knew that. Kang's rival completely loses it. Meanwhile, Kang's system appears, informing him that the siege on the palace is over. All the main leaders are dead, and the rest of the enemy army has fled. However, his rival still wants revenge. But Kang only cares about his mission reward. His system shows him his options. Kang mockingly thanks his opponent for the opportunity. He totally taunts the guy. Even as his rival swears revenge, Kang chooses sword manipulation, which grants him synergy with steel. This power enhances all metallic attribute cards and skills. His enemy yells that it's not over. Kang doesn't care. He just logs out, leaving his rival to rant alone. Back in the real world, a monarch asks Kang through his system if he wants to be a hero. Kang realizes he always has this dream around this time. He always makes the same decision. The monarch warns him that he will be a hero among heroes, but that no one will understand him for the rest of his life. He will also become a total joke and a laughingstock. The monarch says he will never find anything so tragic and comical anywhere else. Kang's dream has repeated countless times. This monarch, known as Clown, made a deal with Kang. Since then, his life has gone exactly as predicted. The next day, Kang wakes up to his phone ringing. He checks his phone and sees he missed 4 calls. On top of that, someone is already banging on his door. Kang had been wondering why his dream felt so real. Now he wonders about all this noise so early. He opens the door and sees the general manager. Kang asks what someone as important as him is doing here. This is Park Tai-sig, or Master Park. He tells Kang that he's gotten too cocky just because he was a little tough on him. Park is one of the top 30 players who made a deal with the Monarch of Assassins. Everyone knows him as the Deadly Blade. Furthermore, he is the general manager of the National Intelligence Agency, taking direct orders from the Blue House. Kang gets a close look at him. He says the manager looks tired and asks if he had to run on the first day too. Park tells him he doesn't have time for that. Park explains that since the first day of the season, warmongers from all over the world are putting players on the front lines of combat, creating a wave of destruction. He also asks Kang why he didn't answer his phone, since the sun has been up for a while. Kang simply replies that he was sleeping. Park is quick to point out how messy Kang's life is. Ironically, Park tripped on some trash and fell. He got angry and told Kang to fix his attitude. Instead of just selling King Hero Kang t-shirts, he felt a little embarrassed. Park joked that with Kang's lifestyle, he looked more like a child of darkness. Park also wondered why Kang still ate at the same local restaurant 3 times a day, especially since he had earned good money. Kang simply said he liked the food there. Park said that made him want to try the food someday. Kang then started thinking about his history with the manager, a history that goes way back. Even before the world turned into a game, Kang was already a well-known player at 15 years old. The local internet cafe where Kang spent all his time playing witnessed all his incredible skills. The manager there, Park Tick, thought Kang was amazing. He even told Kang to go pro. Kang was just playing for fun back then, but the manager convinced his parents, offering to guide Kang and help him develop his talent. Then, when Kang turned 18, he was ready for his official debut. But before that could happen, the first season arrived, the end of peace, and with it came the first tower break they had to face. Kang, just like everyone else, was terrified. He saw the horrors firsthand and almost died that day because of one of the creatures, but fortunately, someone was there for him. Manager Park showed up and fought for him. He defeated the creature, giving them a chance to escape together, but the loss was enormous. He lost his parents that very day. Alone in the world, Kang felt completely lost. Manager Park became his only hero. Thus began their deep friendship, and it lasts to this day. Back in the present, Kang asked what Park wanted at his house. Park told him he was there because of the association. Kang asked if the association still needed him for something. The KPA, or the Korean Player Association, is the only guild in the entire nation. It's an absolute power that manages all the players. Park asked Kang if he knew about the player academy the association built last season. Kang then asked if Park was referring to the slave factory. Park confirmed it. He said the first graduation exam is in about a week, and they want Kang to be there. Park assumes Kang won't go, just telling him not to worry about these things, but to his surprise, Kang will go. He wants to see the new players, the future of the nation, but he has one condition. Kang demands that the association change the exam to 5 o'clock the next morning. The next day, with only 5 minutes until the exam, the academy is already full of participants. An attendee recognizes Kang and realizes he's there to evaluate them. Another student scoffs, thinking they will all graduate anyway. He just hates starting so early, calling Kang arrogant for choosing such a ridiculous time. Soon, the president of the association asks Kang what he thinks of their students. Kang clarifies that they've been spoiled from the start. Leonongo seems a bit embarrassed, but politely asks Kang to evaluate his students carefully. Kang simply repeats that the conditions are exactly as he stated. With that, Kang agrees to evaluate the strength of these rookies. This means the final graduation decision rests entirely on him. Even upon sensing Kang's superior attitude, the president agrees to let him do as he pleases. The president believes his plan is perfect. It's still early in the season and the students are talented. There's no way even the heroic King Kang can ruin this. But then, Leonongo's mind changes completely. He sees with his own eyes the students he thought were excellent being completely defeated by Kang. After defeating everyone, Kang finds himself in front of a helpless girl, already crying over her failure. But then Kang tells the surprised girl that she passed. She asks how. Kang replies that it was pure luck. He explains that she was the luckiest of the 12, the only one left standing. He tells her to always remember that for a player, luck is everything. He then declares, for now, that's all. He congratulates her on her graduation and orders the cameras to be turned off. Suddenly, the furious director barges in demanding an explanation. Kang simply shocks him by revealing he knew the director's intentions from the very beginning. Kang explains that every student here is either related to an association executive or has powerful connections, which is why he concluded he was called to test their progress and gather data. Kang reveals the director's true goal. He wants to graduate the failing ones and use them as his personal house dogs. Kang criticizes the entire organization, calling them rotten. This really infuriates the president. Shinongo immediately retorts, asking what an arrogant kid like Kang could possibly understand. He says Kang is only a hero because people call him one. He argues that players are just weapons for their nations, in Korea and everywhere else. What they really need, in this new world, he insists, is a war hero. The president demands that Kang understand his position and cooperate. Kang simply ignores them, thinking they're complete idiots who don't understand anything. Then, someone runs up to the president with urgent news. When Leonongo hears what it is, he panics. Kang, however, just smiles, saying that the Player Academy is shutting down just 1 year after opening. A video has been leaked showing the organization's dirty secrets. Kang reveals that the head of the National Intelligence Division backed him up, which is how he got the footage. Now the president's reputation is in tatters. Shinongo is absolutely furious with Kang. Kang uses his taunt skill, pushing the president's buttons even further. His system then alerts him. The clown is delighted with Kang's actions and has decided to give him a reward. After that, Kang turns. Outside, Kang thanks his contact. He asks if it's really okay for the National Intelligence Organization to hit the association so hard. His contact confirms it, explaining that the government doesn't like the association either. His friend adds that the government and the association are always clashing. Kang loves this drama. He tells his friend to drop him off at Tower 5. Shortly after, Kang arrives. His system warns him that a journey through a desert of heat and cold awaits. In an instant, he is teleported to the mission location. There, creatures. Evil creatures are attacking the local inhabitants. Kang sees this and notes that players always show up just in time within the tower's domains. That's how they become saviors. Their sudden appearance makes them seem even more legendary to the locals. Kang bursts in, completely wrecking the enemies. Immediately, the natives see him as their only hope. He tells them they can call him whatever they want. The villagers see Kang as a priest of light, a divine messenger who brought them hope. But Kang can't shake a bad feeling about all this. Kang then asks if there are any threats beyond these monsters. The others assure him they are in the territory of the divine kingdom, so there's no need to worry about heretics. But then they reveal it will take 3 days to reach their destination. Kang is definitely not happy about this. He regrets rushing things without getting more rest. Still, he tells everyone else to go to sleep. He'll take care of any monsters, no problem. The men thank him for standing guard. Kang puts on his vitality necklace to increase his life recovery. He also decides to open the gift from his monarch. Inside, he finds a high-rank forest stone. In fact, he's impressed. He says he finally got something decent, but thinks he won't need it now and saves it for later. Suddenly, giant scorpions start heading toward him. It's time to summon Blackie. His dark creature jumps into the fight, and Kang is annoyed by this whole situation, but he knows he can't let his familiar do all the work, so he attacks from a distance using his sword that moves with his thoughts. He realizes how incredibly useful this skill is. After defeating the scorpions, even Kang's sword manipulation skill card gets an upgrade. But wait, it's not over. More enemies appear. An adult sand predator. This time, Kang realizes he won't be sleeping tonight. Still, he's not afraid, trusting Blackie to handle it. While his dark creature does the heavy lifting, Kang launches attacks from afar with his mind-controlled weapons, piercing the giant worm from all angles. Kang barely moves a muscle. His weapons do all the work for him. He finishes the predator with ease, using his ice skills. This also improves his ice stats. At dawn, they finally begin their journey to their destination. Kang sees a troop of knights and wonders if they are allies. One of the men explained that they were brave warriors in the service of the god of light. Kang immediately asked why they hadn't helped the night before. His ally quickly explained that these knights prioritized protecting their goods, guarding that cart with their lives, no matter what. Kang then asked about the knights faction. His ally said they were the honorable knights of the Order of the Bloody Cross. Kang replied sarcastically, wondering if they had a golden calf or something super important hidden in that carriage. The leader of the knights told Kang to forget about the carriage and to focus only on his assigned task. Kang immediately realized that these were knights using skills of Aura Heart. They even managed to involve the Apostle of Light, which made Kang even more curious about what was inside that carriage. He tried to imagine what could be so incredibly valuable. One of his allies seemed quite embarrassed by Kang's bold attitude, but Kang suddenly pulled him close. He had seen an incoming arrow. Kang shouted for everyone to get down unless they wanted to die. Arrows started to rain down, while everyone scrambled to find cover. An ally shouted about being attacked by heretics. He couldn't believe they dared to enter the territory of the Divine Kingdom. The enemies kept advancing. Kang watched, wondering how the knights planned to react. The leader of the knights yelled at his men not to let their goods fall into enemy hands. No matter what, he ordered them to activate their aura shields. Kang immediately realized that these knights didn't care about their own comrades. All they wanted was to protect that so-called golden calf. Just then, a system alert appeared for Kang. Protect the caravan and transport the items safely. Kang prepared to fight by launching attacks from a distance. One of the heretics scoffed that the attacks couldn't reach them, but then he realized Kang wasn't even aiming at him. Suddenly, an attack erupted from the ground, knocking the heretic off his horse. The next thing they knew, Kang appeared right above them. But just as Kang was about to strike, he noticed something strange about the enemy's face. It was a desert elf. This instantly changed Kang's plans. Instead of attacking, he decided to protect the elves, but his help wasn't exactly welcome. The fallen elf immediately got up, trying to attack Kang. He easily defended himself while doing so, and asked the elf what was inside the wagon. The elf clearly thought Kang was trying to trick him and refused to answer. He then shouted to his comrades not to listen to Kang, telling them to shoot without mercy. Soon, the other elves launched a volley of arrows, but Kang raised a magic shield, protecting himself and the elf. His opponent declared that even if he was captured, he wouldn't say a word. Kang said not to worry about that. He just needed to know what was in the caravan. That information would help him decide which side to take. Kang, toying with them, told them he hadn't eliminated them simply because he chose not to. It wouldn't be difficult at all. To prove it, he unleashed a quick demonstration of power that left all the elves completely stunned. He warned them, "Move a single finger and you will all die." He then pressed them again about the contents of the caravan. That's when the elf revealed the truth. There were no goods, but Princess Syria herself. Realizing the princess was kidnapped, Kang ordered the elf to go back and spread the news. He would grant them a special favor and let everyone live. The elf hesitated, so Kang gave a final warning. "Retreat now or you will all die on the spot." The elf and his allies quickly got up and left. Immediately, a knight stepped forward and asked why Kang had let their enemies escape. Kang simply replied that he needed to confirm something first. Then, ignoring the knight's previous words, he headed straight for the carriage. Instantly, a sword was pointed at him. The knight declared that no one, not even the Apostle of Light, could approach the caravan. Kang responded by summoning his dark creature, warning the knight to back off while he still had the chance. This cleared his path. He reached the caravan, threw open the doors and asked the person inside if they needed help. Inside, he found the same elf princess, Syria, princess of the Ayube kingdom. She was far from grateful, declaring she didn't need a heretic's sympathy. Immediately, Kang's system warned him about neglecting his duty, pointing out that the Monarch of Light was watching his every move. Kang simply stated he had no other choice. He openly defied the system and broke the chains holding the princess. This bold move earned him a hidden achievement and 300,000 conquest points, but there was a catch. The tower's objective was instantly updated and the quest's difficulty skyrocketed. Kang declared that the game was over, adding that freedom felt amazing. However, his system responded, promising he would pay for defying the light. It warned him that one of the tower's own forces had turned against him. Suddenly, sentinels of light materialized in the sky, ready to carry out the Monarch of Light's orders. On the ground, the leader of the knights declared that the Apostle of Light had been corrupted. He didn't care if Kang was a visitor, he was now a heretic who had defied the light. Kang scoffed, saying the knights were only acting tough because they had backup. He reassured the princess not to worry, because he had backup too. His system instantly confirmed it, announcing that he had gained the support of the Monarch of Shadows for his lesson. Now the lights would fade and darkness would spread. And wait, there's more. The Dark Council drops a buff, Curtain of Absolute Darkness. This thing interferes with the vision of all the knights. Everything is distorted by this dark curtain that has covered the entire area. Kang knew that taking this side would bring even better rewards than if he stayed with the light. Now the knights can't see the attacks coming from the darkness. They are taken down one by one. High above, the heralds of the Monarch of Light can't do anything, not until one of them opens a path with light. They can finally see what's happening below, witnessing the utter defeat of the knights by the darkness. They are a little curious about who caused all this chaos, but before they can even react, Kang attacks them without a second thought. The heralds can't believe a mortal would dare to do such a thing. Kang's system alerts him that the Sentinels of Light now have irreversible hostility towards him. On the plus side, his friendship with the Dark Council faction has increased significantly. Kang and his dark powers grow stronger. Then, his system pops up with another alert, stating that countless factions throughout the tower are now watching his every move. It's a reminder that the world of towers and the world within them are not the same. To explain, groups like the Bloody Cross Knights and the Desert Elves are creatures inside the tower, part of its internal world, but the monarchs and their factions exist on a higher plane, which is the world of the tower itself. A player acts as an agent between these two worlds, almost like a monarch's forces interfering directly. However, players are not mere puppets following the monarch's orders. Players who understand things beyond the game's text can make truly imaginative decisions inside the tower. Just like Kang, who predicted a better reward by joining the Dark Council and opposing the light. If you have an idea, you can't hesitate to execute it. Even the monarchs are subject to rules and restrictions. So, as much as the Sentinels of Light detest Kang for defying their monarch, they can't change things. This is a level 5 tower, so no angel above rank 8 can descend from the heavens. These are the rules of the tower. That's why only the heralds present are attacking Kan. But with all the darkness, the heralds' vision isn't clear. Their attacks actually hit their own allied knights. Kang thinks they don't care about their allies, since the followers of light weren't so different anyway. To Kang, this end for them just makes sense. Then Kang announces that his vision suddenly became crystal clear. Kang believes the powers of the boost are incredible, but the enemy is still quite strong. He realizes he needs to act fast before it's too late. So, Kang quickly goes to the princess and gets her out of the war zone. Then, he calls Blackie and gives it the gift he received earlier, telling it to help protect the princess. He then uses the highest rank growth stone on Blackie, further increasing the dark creature's power. The princess sees an attack coming and warns Kang, but Kang, without the princess even noticing, the dark creature has already protected her, absorbing the incoming attacks from the sky and reflecting them back. Kang thinks this is great. His strategy worked perfectly. The enemies, on the other hand, just scoff, claiming it's useless and that these swords can't reach them. Kang just ignores them and moves on. The Heralds of Light prepare for another round. One even lunges into a melee fight with Kang. Kang tries a surprise attack from behind, but his enemy is too fast and dodges just in time. This forces Kang to change his strategy. Kang realizes that facing them head-on throws him off balance. He wonders if constantly moving is even helping. After taking a hit, Kang realizes this fight is harder than he thought. He's surprised at how fast they are. Even with their disadvantage, there's no choice but to keep fighting. But then, a moment of distraction, and the enemy lands a solid hit on him. Kang finds all this flying around very annoying. Kang just wants to finish them all off at once, so he considers using his secret weapon. One of the heralds shouts that they won't allow it. Kang hesitates, unsure what to do, and then takes a direct hit. He starts bleeding non-stop. If this continues, Kang's weapons begin to fail. He can no longer concentrate. The enemies see their chance to finish him off for good, but then his system pings. The seasoned adventurer's blessing is locked at 100%, a less than 50% chance. His He Who Cheats Death blessing activated, making that last hit completely useless. And so, the radiant sword begins its targeting. The leader of the heralds instantly knows something is wrong and orders a full retreat, but Kang just tells them it's too late. He summons a huge swarm of mind-controlled swords and launches them at the enemies, declaring that it's time to end this. Every herald takes a direct hit. So many swords just completely incapacitate them. Some try to escape, but Kang hunts down the stragglers and takes them out with ease. The fight finally ends. Kang levels up, having defeated them all. Even after all that, Kang is exhausted. All his buffs disappeared the moment the fight ended. He scans the area, seeing bodies everywhere. Then his companion appears. After all, Blackie is safe. And not just Blackie, the princess is safe too. When Kang approaches, she asks him why he betrayed his own people and went through so much for her. Kang tells her that the rewards for doing so were simply better. Syria asks if he has no empathy for his people. She also asks if he plans to demand a ransom for saving her life. Kang casually says he has a serious illness that makes him hate humans. He notes that the princess is visibly shocked. He then apologizes for not taking her questions seriously. A few days later, they arrive on horseback at the border of the elven kingdom of Ob. Syria tells Kang she is incredibly indebted to him, thanking him for all his help. Kang just tells her he did it because he wanted a reward, so the princess offered Kang a necklace. His system activated, confirming he had received the symbol of trust. It was a special accessory, its rank unknown. Kang didn't know its true value yet, but it seemed important, as if it would definitely be useful someday. A little later, Kang was on a train headed for Busan Station. A friend had called him there with an urgent request. Kang immediately asked if something big had happened. His friend explained that nothing had happened yet, but that it would happen soon, and Kang needed to be there. The problem was Nadezh Ivanova. She was an internationally known criminal, part of the Black Players, a fugitive from the Russian government. She had infiltrated Busan through the port and was now clearing towers with 4 of her subordinates. On top of that, she had the legendary skill card, Absolute Curtain of Darkness. When Kang got off the train, Park asked him if he had run into any zombies. Kang just shrugged, saying no, he just needed a ride. Park had just received intel on the tower Ivanova's team had entered. His system issued an alert: survive the starving infected and Talela's secret maintenance squad. These enemies were so strange that Kang even questioned if zombie was the right word for them. Suddenly, Blackie leaped forward, even without Kang's command. The shadowy creature seemed drawn to something specific. As Blackie faced an enemy, its hunger and impulses surged, and it moved swiftly behind the creature. It devoured it whole and transformed into a giant whale. Kang then knew that eating that growth stone had really changed his cat. After that impressive meal, Blackie looked incredibly satisfied. Just then, Nadezh Ivanova appeared. She announced that she had been waiting for Kang, calling him the hero of heroes. She added that someone like him would never leave a villainess like her alone. Kang immediately told her he knew exactly who Nadezh Ivanova was, an associate of the Red Mafia wanted by the Russian government, who had entered Busan through the port with her subordinates. Nadezh then asked if he planned on putting her in jail. Kang replied no, but admitted he had no idea why she seemed so relaxed facing him. Nadezh sneered internally, thinking that Russian foreign intelligence probably had a pretty low opinion of her. Kang then speculated that her little gang also included members from Saslan and deduced they planned to corner him and leave him for the zombies. Nadezh reminded Kang that she worked for Russian intelligence and asked if he still intended to fight her. Kang stated he wasn't there to become zombie food. He simply said there was no other way to steal her legendary skill. Ivanova then realized she had been right about Kang all along. Ivanova immediately orders her men to attack. They open fire. Bullets fly everywhere. But our hero is too fast, dodging every single shot. He tries to go after her, but Natasha somehow slips away. This really impresses him. Now, Kang, in the darkness, wondering what just happened, realizes that Nadezh vanished into the shadows. Immediately, he has to defend himself from her team. There are 3 riflemen and 1 sniper. As he dodges their bullets, he thinks, maybe once, but never twice. He knows the absolute darkness curtain affects everyone inside it. So, how are they still aiming at him perfectly? Just then, his cat Blackie appears. Kang tells Blackie he needs his help. Blackie agrees to lend a paw. Outside, One of the shooters complains that Kan's ice shield is too strong. They need a new plan. Suddenly, the shooter spots Blackie. Big mistake. That was his last sight. Blackie attacks, taking down all the shooters. Someone shouts a warning. Stay out of the cat's shadows. Inside his shield, Kan wonders if they can really escape. He thinks it doesn't matter if they can see the shadows or not. Suddenly, Nadisha Ivanova appears. She's holding a knife to his throat. She tells him she could let him live, but only if he behaves. Kan replies that only someone who could kill him would say something like that. Nadisha warns him not to underestimate her. She points out his huge conquest points for clearing the 5th level tower. That wasn't a normal score. She assumes he finished the tower on hard mode, but then opted for a challenge. Easier. Just like last season outside, the remaining men are running around trying to escape Blackie's shadowy attacks. They aren't doing well. Kan knows it. He was just waiting for the perfect moment. He then asks Nadisha how she plans to kill him. Nadisha is stunned. Everything she sees is a lie. She realizes she's been talking to an illusion the whole time. She fell right into his trap. Kan reveals he knew from the start that this wasn't the absolute curtain of darkness. He knows that skill alters all the senses. This could only be one thing, a legendary illusion skill that lets him manipulate what she sees. The skill is called Oculus. Nadisha realizes her plan is completely ruined and is utterly stunned. The protagonist doesn't waste a second. Taking advantage of this perfect opening, Kan tells her it takes a real trickster to pull off a scam, but he admits it's not really her fault. He then says Nadisha is about to be the one caught by a zombie, but just as he has her cornered, his system sends him an alert. A player has died. His system adds that Taleila's secret squad has found survivors, specifically in Zone B16. Nadisha and her crew see another squad approaching. They know they need to flee, but it's too late. They are spotted instantly. An Iron Soldier follows confidential protocols, instantly eliminating their target. Kan watches this and debates his next move, stop them or deactivate the shield. But before he can decide, he's attacked too. He quickly realizes there's no time to think. Suddenly everything changes. Nadisha notices the shift and gets scared. It's the NPC merchant. She complains that it's a huge waste for 2 players to die without spending all their conquest points. She blames it on Kan. He quickly apologizes, asking how he can make things right. The merchant offers him a pack of cards, but Kan refuses to buy. Kan, once her shop opens, there are no peace treaties. He then tells the merchant to offer the card pack to Nadisha instead. He also notices that the attacks happening right outside the shop are seriously bothering Nadisha. The merchant just shrugs, saying Nadisha won't survive anyway. Still, she offers the card pack, suggesting Nadisha might get lucky and pull a mythic card that could save her. Kan asks if selling card packs is literally all this merchant does. Then he's surprised. Nadisha Ivanova is spending all 374 of her conquest points on random card packs. He just watches. Nadisha opens the packs, but only common cards come out. She gets very frustrated, not pulling anything good. The merchant tries to cheer her up, telling her there's still hope. Nadisha gets more and more nervous. Meanwhile, Kan remarks that he finds it quite amusing that the whole circus is burning down. After opening countless card packs, Nadisha is left with only one. This pack has to have something good, or it's game over. And Ivanova knows a mythic card is a pipe dream. Even a legendary or heroic one would be enough, but no such luck. The vendor tries to encourage her. Offering him a potion, Kang steps in. He tells the saleswoman it's time to close up. The saleswoman argues that after all the unexpected deaths and sacrifices, it's definitely time for a legendary card. She even guarantees the next pack will have one. Meanwhile, Kang's system goes haywire. It says that even the monarch of hell is in shock. It declares it can't help. Nadisha Ivanova immediately insults Kang in Russian, hurling every insult she knows at him. Kang just shrugs, calling her curses inefficient, but agrees to buy one more pack. He pulls a duplicate card. His system instantly asks if he wants to enhance it by combining skills. Kang thinks this is much better than a normal useless skill. He wonders what he'll get. Nadisha is absolutely furious. Kang ignores her. The saleswoman announces she's leaving now, but Kang, the saleswoman, leaves anyway. Nadisha Ivanova starts insulting Kang again. Suddenly, Iron Soldiers appear. They prepare to attack, ready to eliminate all witnesses with their confidential protocols. But before they can move, Kang takes out Nadisha and Ivanova for good. Then he charges at the soldiers. Kang isn't going to die here, like his last enemy. He fights with everything he's got, taking out several soldiers. Kang attacks with his mind-controlled swords, but the soldiers fight back hard. They fire laser beams from heavy military-grade weapons. Kang is stunned. All this from a pharmaceutical company. He thinks he should invest in pharmaceutical stocks when he gets home, but first, he needs to beat these guys. He quickly decides against buying stock in this company. The destruction he's caused and all these soldiers he's taken out mean huge losses for them. They might even go bankrupt after he defeats them all. Kang finally completes the zombie apocalypse tower. He even gets a random equipment ticket. As the victorious survivor, he also gets to choose a skill card from a player who failed. He doesn't even bother looking at the other cards. He knows exactly what he wants, Ivanova's former Oculus skill. Once the tower is cleared, all players, even those who failed, return to the previous world. Kang realizes that 2 people from his group, plus Nadesha, died fighting Blackie. They probably couldn't escape because of their grief, but this only works if the tower doesn't cause a true death. Before leaving, Kang tells Nadesha Ivanova, "Good job." She's utterly confused. Kang basically asked if she wanted to be arrested. If so, he suggested she just turn herself in. Nadesha was astonished, asking if he was really going to let her get away. Kang confirmed it. He then told her to spread the word that the Hero King was amazing and that no one should cross him. He even added that dead people don't talk, so he needed her alive to do his PR work. Later, Park questioned why Kang had let the enemies live. Kang simply explained it was for the legendary skill compensation they left behind. This really upset Park. He demanded to know why Kang would let traitors walk away with their heads still attached. Kang clarified that he wasn't a bloodthirsty killer. His true desire was to be more peaceful, even philanthropic. Park sarcastically praised K's speeches. He then pressed him about what the enemy's real goal was. Kang didn't answer directly. Instead, he just announced that he was now managing Park's internet cafe. His friend gave up on trying to get an answer, wishing Kang a safe return and telling him not to push himself too hard. Kang thanked him for the concern, promising he'd take care of himself. Inside the towers, players are given all sorts of names. Kang was called a hero, but he honestly thought that players weren't real heroes at all. They were just war heroes, nothing more. He knew people like Nadesha and Ivanova who took down their own country's enemies without a second thought. But Kang refused to be that kind of hero. He believed there were no real heroes in his world. He suddenly realized it was morning. He had been careless. As he left, the people who saw him whispered about his reputation. They weren't sure if the media reports about him were true, but none of that mattered to them. The only important thing was that Kang was the strongest active player in the country. Everything else was irrelevant. Kang even sighed in relief upon hearing that. He started to head home, but ended up getting cornered before he even got there. Reporters tried to harass him, but he slipped away before they could. He figured that since he'd have to go to the tower eventually, anyway, he might as well rest there. Once inside, he heard some men announce that the Holy Warrior summoning ceremony was a success. Kang didn't have the slightest idea what they were talking about until the saint herself stepped forward. She said it was a pleasure to meet him. She claimed that he was a warrior from another world who had answered her prayers. She introduced herself as Alicia Celestina, the 30th saint of the Holy Kingdom of Celestina. Kang decided to play along. He declared himself as the warrior who would save the world with speed and precision. He then asked what he could do for her. The saint told him to start by explaining the history of the continent of Philia from the beginning. Kang guessed that it probably started with a big fight between celestials and demons. The saint confirmed he was right. That's how the war between light and darkness began. The demons, usually trapped in the dark abyss, began to invade the world of light. After about 30 minutes of this long story, Kang grew impatient. He asked if they could finally go save the world, but the saint said, "Wait, the story is just beginning." She explained that the Celestials feared that humans would abuse the power of the Ark, so any chosen warrior needed approval. First, Kang simply turned around and started walking away. The saint asked him where he was going. He said he was going to work, but the saint pointed out that he didn't even know where the Ark was. Kang asked if she knew. She admitted that she didn't know either. Kang just shrugged, saying it didn't matter. Then suddenly, a portal opened out of nowhere. Demonic creatures started pouring out. The saint saw them up close, shocked. How did a demon get to the Holy Land? The knights immediately charged forward, declaring that this place was forbidden to demons. The fight began. Kang watched everything from a distance. Everyone wondered why their divine magic and aura blades weren't damaging the enemy. When the demon moved to attack, Kang quickly told everyone to fall back. Then, he created a shield to protect them all. The saintess offered to help, but Kang said it was fine, insisting that they stay behind his shield. She worried about him, especially seeing him jump straight into danger for the others. Alicia decided to pray to her goddess for mercy. Soon, everyone else joined her in prayer. Moments later, Kang's shield broke. The saintess quickly asked if he was okay. Kang said the enemy had fled, but, before it left, it sent a telepathic message. It was the demon's duty to claim the Ark. Soon, this world full of light that they hated would be plunged into darkness. The message warned Kang not to stand in its way. The saintess was absolutely terrified by this message, but Kang wouldn't let that stop him. He insisted, saying they couldn't waste any time. He asked if she had any idea where the Ark was, though she was still stunned. Alicia finally said she had a guess. With that clue, Kang set off to find the relic. Meanwhile, Kang casually mentioned that his cat did an incredible job playing the demon. It turns out that creature was just pretending the whole time. He realized he had used it to intimidate everyone. Now, he would have to avoid using dark skills for a while. He also warned Blackie not to use its thorns for a bit. When the Saintess noticed Kang was falling behind, she asked if they should slow down, but Kang quickly refused. He thought his method was the best. After all, that's how you properly use a legendary skill. Soon, they arrived at the Adventurers Guild. Kang mentioned hearing about some requirement to enter the labyrinth. The receptionist knew exactly what he meant. The Adventurer's license. She told them to wait a moment. While they waited in the lobby, the Saintess explained their location. This was Garcia, the Labyrinth City. It was in a neutral position, right between the Holy Kingdom of Ernestina and the Draugr Empire. Just as its name implied, an ancient underground structure formed the core of the city. Kang mused that it would be hard to find a better place to hide the Ark, the ancestral weapon of the celestial being. Soon, it was his turn. The receptionist handed over some documents for Kang to sign. The Saintess almost signed them herself, but Kang stopped her. He read the fine print. If you died in the labyrinth, the guild assumed no responsibility. Even worse, if they recovered your body or belongings, they became the city's property. Kang quickly asked if this was non-negotiable for the license. The receptionist explained that the guild offered everyone a fair chance to achieve the great fortune of the labyrinth. She added that adventures were risky and that it was entirely up to the adventurer to take the plunge. Kang sarcastically remarked that the guild clearly understood the value of life. After he signed, the receptionist wished them good luck. A little later, they finally entered the labyrinth. They started on level 1. Kang asked the Saintess if she was ready, and she confirmed that she was. They immediately encountered their first enemies, a huge rat and its offspring. Kang created an opening, and with a precise strike, the Saintess took down the rat. They moved quickly, reaching level 5 in no time. Kang attributed their speed to the Saintess's incredible skills, showering her with compliments, but the Saintess humbly pointed out that other adventurers had occasionally cleared out magic beasts, clearing the path ahead of them. She explained that they were in a hurry, so she was grateful to those who helped clear the way. She suggested that if adventurers always cooperated, even demons wouldn't seem so terrifying. Kang told her not to worry. He promised to bring back the ancient weapons safely. Suddenly, some labyrinth bandits appeared. They told Kang and the Saintess they couldn't pass without paying a toll. The Saintess immediately became worried, but Kang was unfazed. He told them he didn't know the local name for it. But this type of crime, targeting adventurers, was common in large labyrinths. The bandits, seeing that Kang knew about their operation, ordered him to hand over all his gear. The Saintess was terrified and tried to talk their way out of it. Then Kang stepped in, asking the bandits to hear him out. He told a story about celestial beings and demons who nearly destroyed the world. He declared himself the warrior sent to stop them, needing an ancient weapon hidden in this very labyrinth. Furthermore, he wasn't alone. He had the Saintess of the Holy Kingdom by his side, so he politely asked for permission to pass. The Saintess quickly backed him up, emphasizing it was all for world peace. The bandits just burst out laughing, telling them they wouldn't fall for such silly stories. Alicia Celestina felt awkward seeing their plea fail. However, Kang had already anticipated this. He declared that in the labyrinth, everyone should behave like adventurers, regardless of whether they were warriors or saintesses. It was time to act. With that, he attacked without mercy. The bandits tried to defend themselves, but they stood no chance against him. Suddenly, another person appeared, demanding to know how he dared to attack her men. She remarked that he was more skilled than he looked. The Saintess immediately recognized the woman. It was the guild receptionist from before, but she couldn't understand why she was here. Kang then dropped the bombshell. The guild and these bandits were working together, luring new adventurers into deadly traps, forcing them to put a price on their own lives. Even if the adventurers couldn't pay, their bodies still had value. Alicia Celestina was horrified. The receptionist scoffed, calling her naive. She asked the Saintess why she bothered becoming an adventurer if she couldn't handle how things really worked in the city. But the receptionist declared it was too late for them and charged forward. Kang quickly defended himself, warning her to be careful. He attacked her from above, unaware of the sharp thorns sprouting from the ground. Kang had used his cat for this, all while keeping the enemy occupied. Blackie had quietly set the trap. Then he told the Saint that the path was clear and they needed to leave immediately. They ventured deeper into the labyrinth. Kang finds a good spot to camp and decides they'll stay there for the night, continuing their journey tomorrow. He sees that the Saint is still shaken. He realizes she's been like this ever since the bandit attack. He understands that she's just not used to seeing the world without her special status as a saint. Alicia Celestina then speaks up, saying, "The world is ending, but people are still fighting over stupid things." She asks Kang if he's used to seeing this kind of chaos. Kang thinks about the leaders from his old world. He tells her that no matter where you are, some things about the world just never change. His answer piques the saint's interest. She asks more about his hometown. Kang explains that his world faced multiple crises. No one knew how to handle it, so everything turned into total chaos. He admits that it was hard for him to adapt at first, but after a while, once he cleared his mind, he saw that everyone was just fending for themselves. The Saint then asks if Kang acted the same way. Kang turns the question back on her, asking what she thinks. She pauses, a long, awkward silence filling the air. When she finally speaks, her answer completely surprises him. He is genuinely shocked, but then he just bursts out laughing. They both fall silent again for a moment. Kang starts to wonder, why is it so quiet? Is he sure it's almost time for it to happen? Just then, the saleswoman appears again, offering him a card pack. Kang wants to check the product list first. He's still 2 levels away from his big goal. A few days later, they reached level 100. Now they're facing demons who are also looking for the bow. Kang pushes forward quickly, while the Saint provides support from the back. This setup allows Kang to attack without any trouble. He rips a snake's mouth open from top to bottom. Even the snake leader takes a hit. The demons complain about their loss, but Kang just calls it a good trip. Not only did he level up, but he also got 10,000 conquest points and a random skill pack. Kang complains that the demons have terrible timing, showing up only after his trial is over. However, the Saint is ecstatic about their success, but then something catches them both off guard. An item appears right in front of them. It's clearly what they've been looking for. Kang approaches the bow. He remarks that it looks rather simple for an ancient weapon. His system confirms he has acquired the quest item. Immediately, the labyrinth begins to react. A portal opens up. The Saint tells Kang they need to go through it to escape. Once they're outside, she breathes a sigh of relief, but then someone appears. This new person applauds the Saint and the other world warriors. They say that Kang and the Saint made the Empire's mission to find the bow much easier. Mildus Draga appears, claiming that the bow's power now belongs to him, the Empire's representative. He demands they hand over the item. The Saint recognizes him as the crown prince of the Empire. Quickly points out that this prince is not on their side. Mildus promises to spare their lives if they simply hand over the Ark, but the Saint replies that she cannot do it. The power of the Ark is meant to protect the world from demons. Then, the prince drops a bombshell. He already has a fragment of the Ark. He boasts that once he collects them all, even the demons will bow before him. The unfazed protagonist simply says that the prince just made his job easier by bringing the very item he was looking for. Mildus erupts in rage. He orders his men to attack, declaring it's time for the proud swordsmen of the Empire to prove their worth and loyalty. His speech motivates the entire army, and they charge. The protagonist's system displays an alert. The scenario is about to end. It warns that the prince and his royal guards are after the power of the Ark. Kang, standing there. The Saint gives him a huge buff, summoning celestial armor that supercharges his defenses and attacks. Totally amped up. With this incredible power boost, Kang can fight an entire army head-on without a problem. One of the prince's men wisely suggests retreating, saying it's too dangerous to stay. But the prince, full of arrogance, replies that it's not time to run yet. Kang's system issues another warning. The prince is absorbing the power of the Ark. The protagonist had predicted this. He warns the Saint about the danger. As the protagonist takes cover, on the other side, the prince begins a horrendous transformation into a giant beast. Some of his own men try to ask if he's okay, but he just roars for everyone to get out of his way. He's now a full-blown demonic beast, even turning on his own soldiers. After that, the protagonist combines his skills with the Saints and summons a magical armor. He then throws a potion, unleashing an earthquake and fire. The entire area erupts into chaos, creating a perfect distraction for him to approach the enemy. Kang sees his chance and starts hitting the giant monster from multiple directions. Nulbus becomes absolutely furious, roaring that the protagonist can't hide in the fire forever. Nulbus tries to attack, but he quickly realizes it's not the protagonist, just a fire illusion. The protagonist appears on the other side, sarcastically saying that Nulbus must be seeing things with all that power going to his head. He then launches a surefire attack on the monster. Nulbus is completely stunned, taking a hit that shakes him from head to toe. The protagonist emerges victorious. Suddenly, his system beeps. He has just obtained the second fragment of the Ark. Now Kang has the object's full power. It's so strong that it even surprises the Saint. She simply can't imagine his true strength. Kang thinks everything went great. All he cares about are the levels and points he just earned. He then gives the Ark to the Saint. She is confused. Why would this warrior from another world trust her with such power? She insists she's not qualified, but Kang is persistent. Otherwise, this power would fall into the hands of Emperor Draga. He urges her to protect it, warning that if she doesn't, it will end up in Draga's clutches anyway. The Saintess says she can't be irresponsible with the bow's dangerous powers. Kang explains that in his experience, people who only seek power and destruction often carry a heavy burden, but he believes she will fight for good alongside the others. She thanks him, saying his words made her feel much better. Kang laughs hearing that. With the mission complete, Kang receives a bunch of special rewards and heads home. A week later, he reflects. He only finished one tower, went in hoping to relax, but ended up trying too hard. Then Kang finds some articles on the internet about himself. It turns out not everyone sees him the same way. It's still mid-January and Kang knows bigger things are happening. A few days later, he heads out again. As always, reporters surround him trying to get answers, but Kang just walks past them, straight to the next tower. The reporters are left watching, wondering if he entered the Tower of Awakening. Inside, an entity reveals that it has been waiting for him for a long time. Kang tells it to skip the formalities and get straight to the test. He soon faces an unknown challenge. The entity scolds him for being so impatient, adding that the test was going to start anyway, even without his complaints. The test begins. Kang finds himself in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by circular mirrors. He breaks them and tries to move forward, but then a copy of himself wearing a clown mask appears. It remarks that Kang doesn't even seem surprised to see it. He isn't interested in talking. He prepares to attack, but his opponent is just a shadow, mimicking his every move. So, when Kang attacks, the clown copy does the exact same thing, and their powers collide. Kang quickly changes his strategy. He uses his shadow creature to keep the enemy distracted. The clown copies everything, and Kang finally realizes this thing is a perfect copy of him. Even though the clown is a perfect copy, Kang sustains his assault. He thinks about how he's fought this same type of enemy every season, and honestly, it's getting old. He finally unleashes his dark magic attacks, determined not to give the enemy any advantage. The clown attacks, but Kang's magic shield protects him. Thanks to his blessing, the one who cheated death, Kang naturally dodges the lethal attack. He immediately takes the opportunity to counterattack. Kang realizes the way to end this fight is actually quite simple. He doesn't change his approach. Kang charges at the enemy intending to run him through, but since his movements are perfectly mimicked, Kang is also hit head-on. That was his plan all along. The clown then asks Kang why he's so serious. It tells Kang he can be a hero or a villain, and it's up to him to decide his path now. The clown tells Kang not to take himself so seriously, because according to it, nothing in this world should be taken seriously. Kang just tells the clown it talks too much and that he has a way to shut it up for good. Kang then places his hands on the clown's face and makes its head explode, permanently defeating the clown. Kang then takes the clown's mask for himself. He asks if there's anything else he needs to do. Suddenly, the clown monarch appears. It calls Kang a child of 1,000 faces and talents and tells him to choose. A while later, at a hospital, Master Park frantically runs to a room. He finds Kang lying in bed. Park is desperate. He heard his friend was hospitalized, and he rushed over as fast as he could. But when he gets there, Kang acts as if nothing happened. Kang asks Park how he could show up at the hospital empty-handed. Park realizes Kang is joking, which means he must be okay. Park tells him to stop joking around and get back to fighting for world peace. After all, Kang is a hero. Kang asks if his manager expects him to work with a hole in his chest. Park insists that Kang must have taken a healing potion or something similar, but Kang explains that despite appearances, this isn't just an ordinary wound. Park isn't surprised, knowing about Kang's monarch, and says that the monarch is not easy to deal with. Kang says it's actually not that serious. He explains that the awakening at level 50 happens in different ways depending on the monarch. In his case, his reward for finishing off his past self was obtaining his own talent. This means he absorbed all the skill and attribute cards he had collected up to that point. Not only that, but his skills also improved, and with this, he got everything he ever wanted. Then, he asks Park about his new mission. Park explains that he needs to find and defeat a real villain. Nowadays, real villains are rare. This guy is known as the Black Player. This Black Player is absolutely terrorizing the city. He acts like a twisted maestro, orchestrating total chaos. He calls everyone ignorant, claiming that he, the great master, will show them the way with his incredible talents. He even sets the city on fire, saying it pleases the Fire Monarch. He insists that only the Fire Monarch truly understands his art, as always. Soon, the maestro sees the police approaching and calls them fools for trying to catch him. The police watch him disappear into a tower, leaving them baffled. Later, the protagonist arrives and sees the city's destruction firsthand. This guy, he thinks, is no ordinary psychopath, so he enters the tower, following his trail. Inside, Kang finds an arena. His opponent, the maniacal maestro himself. The maestro, however, clearly wasn't expecting to face Kang. He knows Kang's reputation. The protagonist tells him they're going to fight, whether he's ready or not. The maniac asks if the protagonist can understand his art. Kang simply ignores him, calling him a madman who wants to be a magician. He says he can't understand why the world is full of lunatics like him. The maestro is furious. He hates that his art is being called something mass-produced. He immediately unleashes ferocious attacks, trying to burn the protagonist alive, but Kang just scoffs, saying that charlatans always get worked up over nothing. This only enrages the maestro further. Then, Kang sees an attack from above. The pyromaniac thinks he's got him trapped, that he has defeated Kang, but Kang is too smart for that. He easily escapes, telling his opponent he'll have to try much harder to catch him. The enemy launches another attack. This time, it hits its mark. He laughs in Kang's face, claiming that Kang helped him create an incredible melody. But just as he's celebrating his victory, the protagonist reappears. He reveals it was just one of his illusions. He then moves forward and attacks the enemy. The enemy dodges Kang's attack, which actually impresses Kang. But even though he dodged, he's wounded. He becomes enraged, screaming that a product of illusionary art has no right to speak. Kang simply tells him he isn't good enough to even comment on that. Kang then uses his ability, creating several clones of himself. He tells the maniac that this is the audience he deserves, because this might be his last performance. But the opponent shouts back that his art will not die. He then causes a tremendous explosion from within himself. Kang was completely taken by surprise. His system then confirmed that he won the battle. He knew that players couldn't kill each other inside the tower. He realized he should have just waited for the maniac at the exit instead. Kang left the tower and immediately teleported to France, just as he expected. The mage's specialty was sudden death, and Kang found him right in his home country. He was sure his enemy wouldn't be able to escape. This time, Kang attacked with his ice blades, making sure the enemy couldn't get away. He charged forward, striking directly, ready to end this once and for all. But then a shield suddenly appeared around the mage. Kang realized it wasn't the mage's doing. Someone else had intervened. A woman appeared on the other side and ordered Kang to drop his weapons. He recognized an old acquaintance, Saint Maria Jaeger, master of the Knights and the Rescue Guild. Kang asked her what she was doing there. Maria explained that the French government had requested her guild's help. They were investigating the Dark Player and had been waiting for him to exit the tower to capture him. Kang asked if they could just get him out of the shield, but Maria said that the Dark Player couldn't die yet. She added that killing someone during a pursuit was only okay in specific situations. Kang sarcastically commented that she really lived up to her title of saint. Maria replied by saying that revenge only leads to more revenge. She told him that just because the enemy acted like a monster, it didn't mean Kang should too. Kang asked what was wrong with killing the Dark Player, especially after everything he'd done. Maria answered that she was telling him for his own good. She then asked if he understood the global consequences such an act would bring. But while they were arguing, the ice covering the enemy melted. The mage took the opportunity to create another explosion. However, he couldn't break the barrier and ended up burning himself with fire. Maria repeated that she was trying to protect Kang. She said the criminal was captured now and she would take it from here. She advised Kang to go home and rest. Fine, Kang thought. He did as she said, complaining that thanks to her, his trip to France was a complete waste of time. But before leaving, Kang tried one last move. He unleashed his dark magic, trying to attack the enemy one more time. However, Maria kept her shield up, protecting the fallen player. She told Kang he was just wasting his time. Kang agreed out loud, but internally, he had been expecting it. He attacked the enemy once more. Kang strikes again, and this time, it's completely effective. The Saintess is completely shocked. The hostage she was protecting is gone, leaving only a pool of blood. This really affects the Saintess and her organization. However, the Clown Monarch enjoys every second of this. Then Kang asks her if she knows how many people this lunatic has killed. He points out that it's not just adults, but even children have suffered because of him. Kang makes it clear that this psychopath deserved no mercy. He argues that the black players are destroying the world faster than the towers ever could. But the Saintess still can't agree with his harsh methods. Kang already knows what she's going to say, that whoever kills a monster becomes one too. But frankly, he doesn't care at all. Then Marie approaches, looks him straight in the eye and tells him that he is not a monster. Kang is a little surprised by her words, but he hides it well. A moment later, his phone rings. It's Master Park screaming at the top of his lungs that he found out Kang was fighting a serial killer. Kang calmly tells him he might go deaf from all the shouting and that he just did his job. He asks, what's the problem? Park quickly explains that Kang shouldn't have executed the target. It's considered an excessive use of force, and now the French government is going to be all over him. Park also tells Kang that he has booked a flight for him to come home as soon as possible, but Kang says he still has something to take care of. Park is not happy, but Kang explains that he has a life outside of work and promises to share all the details once he's back home. Then Kang simply hangs up, leaving his friend talking to himself on the other end. Kang is grateful for the help, but he often finds Park a bit too dramatic. Now alone with Marie, he thanks the Saintess, telling her that he is in her debt. He adds that granting her request is the least he can do. Marie tells him she's relieved to hear that. Kang tries to get a little closer, but she just says she'll see him tomorrow in Paris. Then Kang comments that she's very good at setting boundaries. He asks if she has anything else to say. She simply replies no and wishes him a good night. After she leaves the room, the Saintess is left alone, wondering if asking him for such a big favor was really okay. The next day, a new tower opens in the French capital. Kang is already there. His mission is to reach the end of this scenario. Enemies are chasing him, shooting from a distance, but Kang fires back, returning every attack. The Saintess is right there with him. Traveling inside her carriage, Kang sees a bridge ahead and suggests blocking it to cut off their pursuers. They are inside a tower, recreating the French Revolution. Their objective is to protect the nobles from the revolutionaries. Kang and the Saintess quickly block the bridge, then Kang destroys it, making it impossible for anyone to cross. They stand guard, ready for a fight while the nobles escape. But instead of attacking, the enemy leader calls for a truce. He demands to know why the players are doing this. He explains that until now, Kang and Marie were fighting with the revolutionaries for a new world. He can't understand why they suddenly switched sides. He adds that the Saint was key to their success so far. He wants to know why she is no longer fighting for their cause. The leader accuses her of siding with the corrupt royals. Still, he admits he doesn't want to fight a former ally. Kang asks if this is the real reason why the Saint needed his help. He finally realizes that Maria has been in this world before. Maria confirms she was here once before during a level 5 tower. Back then, she fought for their cause without hesitation: liberty, equality, and unity. Kang says the motto sounds familiar. Maria explains that it's the same one from the Great Revolution of the past. Kang points out that those who believe they're fighting for a just cause are now their enemies. He tells Maria that if she wants to switch sides, now is her last chance. Maria explains that the tower is a restricted entity. To reach and complete the level, they need to face these enemies. Now Kang agrees. They will continue. The Saint tells Kang she's happy to have him fighting by her side in the tower. Meanwhile, the revolutionary leader tries to argue again, but Kang quickly strikes him down. Kang even laughs, asking the stunned leader if he still believes these visitors are apostles of God. Kang gives one last warning. The bridge is down, so they should retreat. He doesn't want to shed any blood, but the leader refuses. He says that even if it means fighting visitors from another world, he will do it for the greater good. The leader announces he is deploying tactics against the visitors. He orders his soldiers to activate their armor's tactical mode and unleash their magic armor. He shouts for them to fight for freedom and equality. Immediately, the enemies unleash enhanced firearms. Each shot explodes with pure energy. Maria, a saint, buffs Kang. He gets a massive 1,000% boost. His movements and reflexes become incredibly fast. Kang is very impressed, thinking this buff will make the fight much easier. Maria tells Kang to stand back, saying she'll handle things, but Kang doesn't. He unleashes dark magic, causing a total blackout and stopping her in her tracks. Kang takes control again, cutting through enemies. He imagines that an army from a level 6 tower would be difficult, but he didn't expect to fight in total darkness, needing to calculate every move. So he asks Maria to raise her shield. Maria asks him to get rid of the darkness. Kang tells her he doesn't want her to interfere. He claims he just wants to test his buffs properly, especially since they'll be sharing the attribute experience anyway. He tells her he has everything he needs to finish off the enemies, all thanks to her buffs, and that he doesn't need her help in the fight. Maria feels a bit frustrated. Still, she knows they have to keep moving forward. Kang, riding his giant cat, tells her to head to the second guard post. They need to get to the king quickly because nothing else matters if their city falls. Maria insists that he doesn't need to go that far, but Kang says he's perfectly comfortable. He claims that if she keeps supporting him, he can defeat all the enemies and keep her out of harm's way. Maria reminds him that's not why she called for him. Kang simply ignores it, saying it doesn't matter. After all, he's already doing all this for her. Meanwhile, elsewhere, a building is burning. Shouts echo to kill the enemies of the revolution. The leader shouts that these are orders from the Duke of Blood and Iron. All supporters of the old system must die. No one is spared regardless of their gender or age. When they arrive, Maria is horrified by the destruction. She wonders why the revolutionary army was so extreme. Kang explains that it's an ideology. He adds that the same fate would have befallen the townspeople they left behind. Then his system alerts him. The Duke's personal bodyguards, the Iron Soldiers, are blocking their path. Kang declares that this is no longer a revolutionary army fighting for a great cause. They are just criminals. He tells Maria to expect another power outage for a few minutes. Time flies, and they complete the tower. Afterwards, Maria faces reporters eager to hear about her raid with the Hero King. She seems a little annoyed. She tells the reporters that for the good of her country, she and Kang are simply professional acquaintances. But Kang, just to annoy her, says they had a busy night in more ways than one, and asks, what else would a man and a woman do in a tower besides go on a date? Maria blushes profusely, denying everything, but Kang keeps joking, adding more details to the story. Maria got furious and told Kang to shut up, all caught on camera. Kang's goal was simple: to increase his provocation stat and entertain his eccentric king. Suddenly, a system alert appeared announcing his reward, a pack of rare cards. Kang felt a little disappointed. He was expecting more, but then his spirits lifted. He saw another reward, a powerful sixth sense skill. Later, the news had spread everywhere. Kang declared that it was too late to say they were just friends. Maria, despite her embarrassment, couldn't hide a small smile. She was secretly happy. Shortly after, they entered a new tower. It was filled with enemies in ice helmets. Kang needed a buff. He humbly apologized to Maria for his earlier teasing and asked for her help. Maria verbally expressed her annoyance with him. However, her face betrayed her true feelings. She wasn't that angry. She quickly lunged forward. Maria told Kang to stay back, joking that a hot night was always followed by a cold one. She fought alone, using her powers to easily clear the tower of the frozen helmets. For a month, they went on a series of shocking raids. Each victory brought them both levels and rewards. After a month of raids, Maria went with Kang to the airport. He kept joking that they were a couple. Maria, however, said she envied him and wondered how he could act so irresponsibly. Kang took it as a compliment. Maria admitted she was happy to have him as a trustworthy player. Kang replied that he felt the same way. Maria wished him a safe trip home. Before he left, Maria thanked him for all the good he had done for the world. On the plane, Kang thought about all this. He thought this type of cooperation was very efficient, but everyone's top priority was still the national interest. He also decided that he'd eventually have to invite Maria to his country. Suddenly, his cat interrupted him, asking how much longer Kang planned on petting him. Kang was surprised and asked since when the cat could talk. Black simply replied that he had evolved. Kang asked why he hadn't spoken before. The cat explained that he didn't want to interrupt Kang's flirting with Maria, but now he declared playtime was over. He ordered Kang to open the card pack he had won. Kang quickly opened it, hoping for a legendary card. He explained that although some just call them card sets, once you unlock all the cards, you can build a real deck. The key elements in this game's decks are synergy and classes. Kang already had great synergy from his previous cards, but with so many extra mismatched elements, he lost a class bonus. Still, he got the Shadow Assassin class, plus some cool upgrades. He decided to take a short break. Once home, he planned to test his new deck in a tower back in Korea. He immediately started looking for one. As usual, people recognized K on the streets. They saw him enter a nightclub, but he wasn't there to party. He wanted to talk to a seriously drunk guy. This guy was complaining about a hangover and demanding to know who dared to bother him. Kang simply told him he would count to 3. By then, the guy needed to get up and follow him. The drunkard retorted, asking who Kang was to be giving orders. He even bragged that his dad was the president of Group Box and that he couldn't be treated like this. Kang didn't care in the slightest. He just grabbed the guy by the hair and dragged him out of the club. Before all this, Kang had visited the association's president. He said he wanted to test his new deck and thought about taking some rookies on a free ride. The president had mentioned a promising rookie who had recently awakened, but when Kang met this promising kid, he couldn't believe it was the same person who cleared a level 3 tower. Upon hearing Kang's words, the rookie recognized him as the Hero King. He immediately asked if Kang was there to take him to a level 4 tower, saying he was totally bored of level 3. This really impressed Kang, so he decided they would tackle a level 4 tower together. First, however, he wanted to see what the rookie was really capable of. He then threw the kid straight into a fight against an enemy. The kid completely freaked out seeing what he was up against up close. Instead of fighting, he just ran away begging Kang to help him, but Kang simply said he wouldn't move. The spoiled brat yelled, asking if Kang thought everything would be fine if he just let him die. From a distance, Kang saw that the kid was only surviving thanks to his armor. He knew that getting a free ride wasn't mistreatment for the kid, but selfish people only cared about fighting for themselves, only wanting easy levels and stats. Kang wondered who would save the world in the future. Hearing the kid's desperate pleas, Kang finally stepped in. He told the kid that if he wanted to be here for free, he needed to earn it. After that, more enemies fell from above. The boy was absolutely terrified. On the other hand, Kang quickly dealt with the new threat. Once he was safe, the spoiled kid immediately started threatening Kang. He said that when they got out, he would tell his dad everything that happened. Kang simply stated he was an evil master, trying to transform the boy and teach him a lesson. He then asked if the boy really expected a happy ending. The boy thought about it, but he had no idea. Kang told him there was no right answer. Then, using his skills, Kang placed a death mark on the boy. This made him an instant target. The boy immediately felt the effects. This debuff totally ignored his stats, so he got hit. The protagonist told him that this run wasn't for people like him. He added that if the boy thought it was unfair, he could come back once he was stronger. Back in the real world, outside the tower, the spoiled kid looked around, confused. He asked what was going on. Kang explained that he had killed him almost painlessly. The boy didn't even realize he was dead. Instantly, the boy exploded in anger again. He swore the protagonist wouldn't get away with it, but the protagonist simply asked what would happen to him instead. The boy declared that the hero clearly didn't understand the power of large corporations. Kang just shrugged. He said he didn't care, even if they sent an assassin after him. It didn't matter if one more conglomerate saw him as an enemy. There was already an entire country that disapproved of his actions, and they didn't want him alive for much longer. So, one more company, big or small, wouldn't make any difference at all. Kang added that if the boy wanted to, he could try his luck. Then, suddenly, they were both taken to a new tower. It was called the Endless Labyrinth. Kang was annoyed, but then he saw that things were even worse than he thought. The spoiled kid was also there, along with other people who looked completely lost. One person recognized the protagonist as the Hero King and was immediately relieved. They thought they would be safe with him. A woman saw the word group on the floor. She realized they needed to work together to clear the tower. The protagonist saw that they were now officially a party. Even though he hated it, he had to survive with all of them. The woman read the rules. She announced that they could respawn if another player killed them, so, if they were in danger, they could kill themselves to escape. He disliked this idea. He immediately thought they wouldn't last long. Still, he declared that this was a free carry by the Hero King. Everyone had to introduce themselves and show their skills, and so, the mission began. After fighting some enemies, the protagonist thought they were doing pretty well. He attributed it to his new sixth sense, but he knew his party was full of spoiled kids and total newbies. He thought that if this crazy team division was supposed to balance the power, his opponents were probably all level 40 veteran players. So it was no surprise they looked like easy targets. He then told everyone to gather up. They had guests coming. Moments later, the enemies appeared. The battle began immediately. The protagonist declared that if the majority of the team died, the rest would be disqualified. The opposing team was already struggling. The game system was about to eliminate them all, disqualifying them according to the rules. But Kang noticed something important. He quickly eliminated the enemies before they reached their tower. Kang knew a harsh truth. If the labyrinth killed a player, they couldn't be revived, not even after the trial was over. So he told them they should be grateful for his kindness in finishing them off himself before the labyrinth got them. Meanwhile, another player was watching Kang from a distance and rushed to warn his teammates, but suddenly, Kang appeared out of nowhere, completely surprising the player. Startled, the player quickly pretended to be a huge fan of the Hero King. Kang calmly asked if he was there alone. Shortly after, the player hurried off and regrouped with his party. He reported finding other players, mentioning that one was high level and the others were weak. Their leader decided they just needed to eliminate the weaker players and the rest would be automatically disqualified. But then the leader asked the player if they were running in the right direction. The player apologized, smugly saying it was better this way. That's when the others finally realized it was a trap. Before they could react, Kang completely eliminated them. Their entire party failed the raid. Kang still tracked down every opposing party and took them down, clearing the first labyrinth by himself. His teammates, who frankly did nothing but get carried, celebrated their victory and collected their rewards. But the system chimed with a warning. They had to decide who got the reward. If they couldn't agree, no one would get anything. They quickly found out it was a shared party reward, not an individual one. Kang then stepped up, declaring that he did all the heavy lifting and deserved everything. He asked if anyone disagreed. The only one who objected was the spoiled brat, who loudly proclaimed he would take the rewards as compensation for previous events. This sparked an argument. Another party member immediately claimed he was more deserving, saying he was the only one who actually helped Kang. Just like that, a fight broke out between the two. The spoiled brat and the cheapskate got ready to fight over the prize. Kang was clearly not amused. The two remaining teammates tried to calm things down, but Kang, fed up with their nonsense, simply killed both fighters. He told them they should have some common sense. They got free experience points and achievement points, so they should just be grateful. He then looked at the survivors and asked if anyone else wanted to object. The two remaining teammates were absolutely terrified. They stayed silent, and so Kang took all the rewards for himself. He then unlocked a mystery ticket and a random blessing. Kang uses the blessings and they are quite impressive. Even Blackie Egan compliments his luck. The system asks Kang if he wants to combine skills and make them stronger. He instantly accepts, thinking that more blessings are always better, even if they aren't fantastic. The Monarch's blessings don't reset. They carry over to the next season. That makes them much more valuable than skill cards in the long run. Kang asks if he should head to a fire attribute tower to complement his new blessing. Blackie immediately says he hates fire. He suggests going to a dark and cold place instead. Kang tells him he's pretty picky. Then, the system alerts Kang. The Holy Tower is calling him. His unknown rank accessory is exerting its powerful influence. The system asks if Kang will answer the call. Kang realizes his break time is over, but it's not a bad thing, so he accepts the call. He heads straight for the tower. When he arrives, a princess tells him that the goddess of shadows heard his prayers and he has answered her call. Kang recognizes her immediately. It's Princess Syria, the same one he rescued before. He notes that she's in a higher position now. She's no longer a princess, but a queen. Syria tells Kang that she owes him an indescribable debt. She says that he is there as an ally, so her guards should not show hostility. Kang remembers the last time the tower ended with her being crowned queen. He asks how he can help this time, wondering why a queen would need his help. Syria explains that the Holy Land has been taken over by the elven kingdom of Ai. After that, the Pope died of sadness. The new Pope took office and asked the human kings to join forces to reclaim the territory. Shortly after, the Third Holy War between the desert elves and humans began. Kang realizes it's a religious conflict. He thinks it could all be resolved with some kind of agreement, but Syria tells him that the kings of 3 nations have already sent their armies. Their target is likely this very fortress they're in, the one closest to the Holy Land. She asks if he will fight by her side in this war. Before Kang can answer, he sees the King of Evil standing on the horizon. Syria is impressed that he could see that from so far away. Anyway, Kang activates his subdeck, swapping his glasses for an ice beam skill. He prepares to attack from a distance, telling the queen she doesn't have to worry at all. A human eagle then scouts the area around them. Our hero moves forward and his weapon provides him with a super clear view of everything. He immediately starts firing from a distance. The humans are fast. They raise their shields instantly. So Kang's shots hit. The shields just absorb all the energy. Kang wonders if these shields are blessed by the Monarch of Fire. He just received a gift from the Monarch of Snow, and now the Fire one keeps showing up. What's going on? Also, an enemy squad spreads out trying to find Kang. Our hero gives up on long-range attacks and decides it's time for close combat. He launches himself from the ridge, landing directly in front of the enemy, but he's not alone. The elves also attack by firing arrows. The leader of the search party yells that they need to find the visitor. First, he claims that no arrow can break their shields. However, he is completely wrong. Our hero helped the elves before, and they know the enemy forces must be weakening. Some soldiers are still confused, thinking Kang is the Apostle of Light. They can't understand why he is fighting on their enemy's side. Kang unleashes Blackie and his dark magic, but even the cat seems surprised by what happens next. The human leader moves forward, telling everyone not to retreat. This is Richard, the King of Evil, and tells his men not to turn their backs on their god. Suddenly, the king sees a giant shadow approaching, about to swallow his entire army. But even with that, he doesn't give up. He tells his soldiers to follow God's will. With his sword, he shatters the dark barrier and charges straight at the enemies. His strength and determination inspire everyone. This takes our hero completely by surprise. The enemies advance directly towards Kang. They are completely determined to defeat him. Kang sees all this up close, but just as he's about to counterattack, attacks come from another direction. The elves appear and one of them tells our hero to keep his eyes on the target. By their queen's command, they engage the humans directly. The human squad Kang is facing is also full of fanatics. Both sides clash head-on. The battle between humans and elves is very intense. Soldiers fall on both sides. However, the humans are not at their best. The elves move faster than the knights, until the human king appears and takes down several elves by himself. But the human king is after something much bigger. Our protagonist Kang sees this and decides it's time to even the odds. The epic showdown begins. The king still sees Kang as a traitorous apostle. He demands to know who he thinks he's fighting, but Kang just stares him down. He tells the king he's just another enemy, a target for a bounty. He even wonders if the king has a dragon heart. Kang places a death mark on him. Immediately, his system flashes. Exposed weaknesses debuff applied. The king's hit, defense, and dodge stats plummet by 500 points. The king is furious. He roars that he won't fall to an insect like Kang. In a shocking move, he kills his own warhorse. He bathes in its blood, using dark power to strengthen himself. Kang is stunned. The king just received a massive debuff. How is he still so strong? The now empowered king lunges to crush Kang, but Kang is ready. He quickly swaps Ice Beam for sword manipulation from his subdeck. The battle accelerates to its peak. Kang unleashes his telekinetic control, making his swords dance with dark power. Bloody souls erupt from the ground, swirling and consuming the king's body. Kang deduces that the bloodshed on the battlefield has supercharged his power. His system confirms the conditions are met, clearly outlining the skill's area of effect. The effect then gives the chilling command, arise. Just like that, dead knights rise back to life, joining the fight. The king, however, breaks free from the bloody souls. He yells that Kang's strange tricks won't work, but then he stops, completely shocked. The fallen soldiers are rising again. Even the dying ones now stand up to join Kang's side. The king's own knights, once loyal, now turn against him, fighting for Kang. The king is devastated, screaming at his men, but Kang's system issues a warning. The area of effect is too wide for his current necromancy skill. His power to control the dead flickers and deactivates. Still, Kang manages to defeat the enemy king. Later, as the sun begins to set, Kang brings the king's severed head to the elf queen. Queen Syria thanks him for his service, but reminds him they've only taken down one of the three pagan kings. The Jihad. This bloody holy war has just begun. As night falls over the kingdom, Kang takes a moment to take in the view, but then he feels something unsettling in the air. A chill runs down his spine, as if blood were spreading on the wind, his mood completely ruined. Kang heads back inside the castle. That's when the NPC saleswoman shows up for a chat. She tells him he's maxed out his frozen sword creation skill. If he upgrades her shop, he'll finally be able to buy an awakening stone. Kang just nods. He was wondering when she would finally show up. She explained that she wouldn't come all the way up to a level 7 tower just for some mediocre sales, so he agrees to upgrade. He instantly gets a new skill, Frost Blacksmith, with some really impressive stats. The next day, Kang goes to the battlefield, eager to test out his new power. He freezes the enemy effortlessly, having a blast. He jokes that their captain must really love his seat. His army is getting wiped out and the captain is still just chilling in his tent. Kang decides that if the guy won't come to him, he'll go to the guy himself. Before the fight, the queen had some information. Bloody Beard apparently moved his elite troops in secret and set up camp nearby. Kang praises the elven spies, but the queen reveals it was humans who leaked the information. She adds that the three kings in this holy war have never really gotten along. It turns out they're still bickering behind the scenes. Whether it's true or not, this is a golden opportunity to strike. Redbeard is the strongest of the three. The queen asks Kang if he can lead her elite forces to take him down. Back in the present, Kang remembers his plan, to take down the king in secret just to be safe. The information seems solid, but the target is missing. Kang enters the tent and finds the king hiding. He asks him what he's doing. Suddenly, the king collapses right in front of him. He was holding a glass that shatters on the floor. Kang sees this and immediately senses something is wrong. He suspects poison. Kang quickly realizes the king died before the fight even began. An elven soldier approaches, seeing the exact same thing. Kang thinks the real enemy is lurking right there, among them. Since the first season, these shadowy forces have been manipulating nations, pushing them into war. They send assassins to eliminate strong players from rival countries, caring only about their own twisted agenda. Kang, furious, finds this whole situation completely ridiculous. He returns to the queen and tells her the king was poisoned by someone from their own ranks. Syria immediately asks if the information was leaked to anyone else. Kang believes the king wanted some kind of insurance policy. The queen can't believe it, not with the holy war so close. But our protagonist says that's exactly the reason. This way, the king gets all the glory and shatters the balance between the three nations. It's like killing two birds with one stone. The queen then realizes they now have to face the High King's forces. However, Kang is confident, stating that the remaining army won't be coming back. Those troops were sent to a holy war. Without a king to lead them, they're probably all gathered at the nearby human camp. Someone mentions that pagan assassins attacked Bloody Beard and wiped out his knights. Whispers begin that these pagans might even be responsible for the king's death. Meanwhile, Philip II, the High King, declares that it's happening. Soon, the fallen king's troops will follow his orders. After all, both the devout king of Malice and the wealthy Bloody Beard were defeated by those pagans. One of Philip's men suggests that Philip could claim the Holy Land and everyone would serve him. King Philip not only agrees, but also claims to have received a divine revelation. He believes his will is the same as God's and uses this to ignite a feeling of vengeance among the soldiers. To do this, he orders the forces of the King of Malice and Bloody Beard to the front lines. Philip claims the Angel of Faith is on his side, therefore, his men should not doubt anything. Sometime later, the protagonist faces another army. He sees that the cavalry of the King of Malice and the armored infantry of Bloody Beard have joined forces, forming a massive force. Not only that, they all fly the same flag. He realizes it. Philip is definitely behind this. The human army, shouting their beliefs, prepares to attack. Kang comments on their slogans, saying they sound like something out of a history book. He questions if they really believe that killing all their enemies will bring peace. With no time to ponder, he also prepares for battle. He activates West Wind, an upgrade he bought from the shop that will last until the end of this fight. He unleashes the wind across the entire battlefield. It's not just wind, it brings an icy breeze with it. The enemy soldiers spot the protagonist, burning with a desire for revenge. Their leader shouts at his men, telling them not to perish in the blizzard. Even the king who appears at the front stays safely behind the main army. Just like other human leaders, Philip has a blessing from the Monarch of Fire and uses this power to influence his army. But on the other side of the battlefield, the Monarch of Shadows gives his blessing to the elves. And get this, the Dark Council faction also joins the fight. The Monarch of the Blizzard even blesses the elves as well, and his Glacial Guardians faction begins to turn the tide in their favor. Watching all this from afar, Kang starts to question the entire war. He wonders if this is really God's will. He can't even discern if there is a single God or many. Either way, he deduces that whatever deity is behind this must be pure evil. Blackie tells Kane to stop messing around and just do his job. Kane agrees that his cat is right and finally decides to jump into the fray. As Kane prepares to end this war, his system issues an alert. It tells him not to disappoint the council and temporarily grants him 100 shadow puppets to use. All this support impresses Kane. He sees he is not the only one fighting for victory, but also notes that it is not much different from the enemy's side. The human side has 59 ranked Sentinel Angels. Kane lets his puppets handle them, reserving his own concentration for his true opponent. He focuses on King Felipe. The two clash, but then something unexpected happens. Kane notices that Felipe's gear looks like a player's. However, Felipe talks like a mere character, not a player. This makes Kane wonder if Felipe is not a player at all, but the original wielder of the golden fanaticism. Suddenly, Felipe attacks from above. Kane grumbles that everyone seems to have wings these days, but then a system alert pops up. It says the Shadow Monarch has granted him the Crow Wings enhancement. Now Kane can fly, however, he is not thrilled, muttering that he did not ask for wings. This aerial fight completely messes up Kane's carefully planned deck, turning it into a bunch of useless cards. Only Felipe is happy, declaring that he finally has a worthy opponent, and so their aerial battle begins. Felipe taunts Kane, saying he seems to be suffering and calling it punishment for betraying God's will. Kane decides to provoke him, asking if poisoning Bloody Beard was also part of God's will. Felipe retorts, accusing Kane of resorting to cheap tricks and vowing not to fall for them. Felipe insists that everything he does is God's will. He calls himself a seraph, claiming his will and God's are completely identical. He lunges at Kane, but only hits an ice clone. Suddenly, Kane appears behind him, mutters that the wings are a nuisance, blocking the view, and lands a blow on Felipe's back. But Kane's system warns him, this 8th rank seraph has the body of the Supreme King. Felipe's body then glows, causing a massive explosion that throws Kane back. The spot where Kane hit Felipe instantly regenerates. Felipe rises again, now sporting a halo and even more incredible wings. Kane observes all this, thinking that angels are just stealing bodies now. Kane's system alerts him. It explains that the Fire Destroyers faction infused his light sword with hellfire. Meanwhile, the Glacial Guardians faction empowered his ice sword with the frozen Kai of Cedos. This means Kane now has power equal to Felipe's. Suddenly it starts to rain. Down on the ground, the soldiers get soaked, while high above the two enemies face off. The battle rages intensely for both. Kane struggles to keep up while flying. Then, in a moment of carelessness, Felipe manages to slice off one of Kane's wings. Felipe, believing he has won, seizes the opportunity to go for the kill. Felipe throws everything he has at Kane, trying to finish him off, but Kane still had an ace up his sleeve, unleashing Blackie, whose spikes pierce through Philip. Not only that, Kane also uses his telekinetically controlled swords for even more damage. This saves Kane from being killed and finally defeats King Philip. His system confirms that he has eliminated the one who had the body of an archangel. With the fight over, Kane rips off his other wing, declaring that he no longer needs it. On the ground, the soldiers spot something falling. When they realize it's their own king, they are left completely stunned. Philip isn't the only one. Other angels also begin to plummet. Kane's system then warns him, the flow of history has been distorted. This altered history is now modifying the player's historical equipment. Kane instantly obtains Philip's outfit after defeating him, along with a hefty 10,000 conquest points. In the end, he's just happy it's all over, so he returns to the real world only to be instantly swarmed by reporters. Kane had entered the tower from his house, but he didn't return that way, and seeing his different outfit, that just brings up a ton of questions. Kane wasn't having any of it. He ignored the reporters completely. Just then, his manager rushed over, but the manager was baffled. Kane looked totally different, so Kane stepped forward and decided to address the media himself. Kane told them that people loved heroic stories, but that they also, secretly, wanted to hear that he was past his prime. He admitted to feeling embarrassed at times, questioning why he even bothered to protect the world. And since they pushed him so hard, he just threw it back at them. Did they really love war that much? His question silenced everyone. Kane then described war, molten iron raining down as you scaled castle walls, arrows tearing into you, being gutted, watching your guts spill out. However, he pointed out that it was now the 21st century. He wanted to show them what modern warfare was like. He spoke of missiles raining from the sky, bullets ripping through bodies, fighter jets bombing innocent people. But he added that, regardless of the era, the sight of guts spilling out was still the same, so he drove his point home, asking them once more, "Did you really like war?" The crowd murmured. People claimed it was impossible to like war, that no one, winner or loser, could truly enjoy it because it was always horrible. As they spoke, Kane's mind flashed back to the tower. The queen had told him she was satisfied with her revenge, but then she admitted that she was now afraid. Kane asked what had terrified her. Sirius replied that the end of the war, all the blood, all the deaths, left a truly horrible image. It made her question if this was really what her god had wanted. Kane had reached the same conclusion. Back in the present, he declared that no one could like war, but then he changed the subject, asking if they liked heroes. The crowd cheered in agreement. Kane then challenged them. How do heroes become heroes? The only way, he explained, was by facing enemies and fighting well in wars. You couldn't have heroes without battles to fight, right? So he concluded that deep down, people actually loved wars, even if they'd never admit it. The journalists responded by calling his statement extreme and wrong. They argued that the current situation was just a product of modern times, totally different from what he was describing. But Khan retorted that it wasn't like that at all. Their northern neighbors were sending assassins to kill them, treating it like some kind of game. He pointed out that this was clearly a war disguised as espionage, which caused the reporters to go into an uproar. They immediately asked if foreign assassins had already tried to kill Khan. He played dumb, pretending he had accidentally revealed top-secret information. The reporters insisted on knowing more, but Khan had achieved his goal. Then he dropped a whole new bombshell on them, something completely hidden until now. Kang went on a deep dive about war. He even wondered if the world were to end tomorrow. Everyone would still be fighting each other. He pointed out how players are forced to become their nation's strength, basically weapons of war, instead of fighting against global threats. They just fight their own country's enemies. Kang claimed that people believe they can finish the season without him or the other war heroes, and the reporters totally bought this lie. He then asked why he had to go through so much trouble to save a world that clearly didn't need him. Kang's entire speech was broadcast live globally. Leaders and VIPs from all nations were listening. Some even started to get a little nervous. But then a reporter stepped forward, claiming that the fight was worth it. Kang simply retorted by asking why. Others quickly argued that you couldn't sacrifice innocent people. They said a player couldn't just abandon their responsibilities. Kang stated that anyone could be a hero or a villain. Everyone chooses their own role. But before he could say more, his manager interrupted him. He grabbed Khan by the arm, trying to pull him away from the cameras, saying it was an official matter. Before leaving, Kang gave one last warning, telling everyone not to talk about a player's duty or beliefs. He explained that if an ignorant person like him actually had strong convictions, he wouldn't take responsibility for the world's current disaster and made sure to tell them to broadcast that part. Also, the Clown Monarch loved Kang's attitude. Meanwhile, Park told Kang he was taking him home, but all Kang cared about were his rewards. Kang's system immediately alerted him. He had received a legendary item, some kind of amulet, and a skill to strip enemies, but he decided to check it out later. Later, back at home, they saw that Kang's speech was already causing a global stir. Park just wanted to relax, have a cold drink, and rest. Park asked why Kang was still listening to the news. He was scared, since he had caused so much chaos. Kang was simply surprised that Park wasn't furious. Park explained that he couldn't be mad. He could see that Kang told Khan that no one knew him better. Kang mentioned that he had an acquaintance in France. Park quickly added that Kang was on a whole other level than her. Kang thanked her and Park appreciated the acknowledgement. Park then asked Kang about his current class. Kang replied, "Pure-blooded assassin. I recently awakened." He then showed off his new gear, including a legendary weapon, a heart-slicing dagger. Park also mentioned hearing that Kang had corrupted a piece of legendary rank equipment. Kang simply shrugged, saying that's just how things happened. His friend urged him to take a break, warning him that he would get badly hurt otherwise. He reminded Kang that they had a level 7 tower waiting. Park's idea of a break was definitely unique. Inside the tower, Park told his friend to get ready. He warned them about betrayals, secret feuds, and the organization's ultimate evil. The protagonist decided it was time to change the story's atmosphere, so they entered the Godfather and Alleyway Tower. Meanwhile, elsewhere, in a torrential downpour, a woman handed an item to someone. She told them to finish the task before the next meeting. The person took it, and she stressed that this was all for the sake of justice in their world. After that, the woman checked the time, only to find her watch had stopped. She became sad. It was a gift from her godfather. Nearby, Kang and Park sought shelter from the downpour. She suddenly recognized them. She quickly asked for help, explaining they were in Black George City and that the Capone family was facing a major crisis. The woman told them their job was to fix everything. She urged Kang and Park to follow her. She would take them to her boss. As they walked, she explained that Black York answered to 5 powerful underworld families. She added that in just 4 days, a major meeting was scheduled between several major companies, but tragedy recently struck. The first godfather, the former head of the Capone family, and many of his men were brutally murdered. She shared her own story, explaining that she grew up as an orphan on the streets. She was lucky enough to awaken powers, but they weren't very useful until her godfather adopted her and changed her life. Kang, however, didn't seem too interested in her personal story. She continued anyway. During the attack, she only managed to save one person, the godfather's son, who was now the current head of the organization. As they entered the room, the boss greeted them. He proudly announced himself as the leader of the company and the head of the Capone family. Park, with a mocking smirk, immediately called him the little boss. The boy was instantly annoyed. He declared that calling Vito Capone, a great boss and the family's rightful heir, little bosses was disrespectful. The woman quickly tried to calm him down. She explained that these foreigners simply didn't understand how to judge character, assuring him that his presence as boss commanded respect. With his ego now inflated, the boy announced he was short on time and wanted to get straight to the point. He then told Rebecca to begin the proceedings. Kang, who hadn't said a word yet, just watched as everything unfolded. After a brief discussion, Rebecca summarized their main objective. They needed to resurrect the family, Capone. At the next meeting with the 5 great families, which would be in 4 days, they needed to draw massive attention. Furthermore, they had to unmask the culprits and the mastermind behind the murder of the former boss and his executives. Kang interrupted, asking who they suspected. Rebecca replied that the most likely suspects were a leader from another of the great families or someone who was once part of their alliance. Their main suspect was Gambino. He was currently weak, but he seemed eager for a war. The protagonist casually reviewed all the files. He then asked if he should just kill everyone involved. Rebecca thinks it's an excellent idea to eliminate all their enemies. They would have to do it eventually anyway, right? But Kang believes the boss wouldn't approve. Vito somewhat agrees, explaining that the Capones have always been powerful, but they truly reached their peak under his father's leadership. Vito has watched Rebecca for 20 years. He tells them that her methods are the core of the Capone family. There is no need for a new approach. Kang quickly reminds everyone that Vito is the boss, not Rebecca. He's the one who makes the decisions. Vito admits he knows Rebecca has more experience than him. The protagonist then asks Vito if he also wants to kill their rivals. Vito answers honestly that if their rivals aren't directly responsible, it's better to leave things as they are. So Vito turns to Rebecca and asks if he can handle things his way. She isn't thrilled, but she accepts, acknowledging him as the boss. Mission started. Park then suggests they investigate the Callio family. They're the closest ones around here. Kang jokes that Park is starting to look like a real villain. Park just shrugs. He says that sometimes they have to try living like villains. After all, this whole world is just a game to them. Moments later, the Callio family guards prepare for a fight against those who dared to invade their territory, but they barely have time to think. The 2 friends attack. Park tells them to surrender now while they're still alive. Cooperate and you will be spared. No way. The guards shout in response. They would never betray their family. All right then, says Park. You can die right now. Kang watches his friend, totally calm and collected. Suddenly, a much more nervous man bursts in. How dare you attack our family before the meeting? Park asks if this guy is the boss of the Callio family. One of the men quickly replies, No, our boss wouldn't stoop so low. Then the new guy tells the protagonist to have fun with the minions. Kang is confused. The plan was for them to go together, but Park tells Kang he came here to relax, so this time Park will handle the job himself. Kang is surprised, but he agrees. He will clear the way for Park to advance. Park lunges forward, declaring that he will take down the boss. The protagonist stays behind to deal with the rest of the minions. High above, someone is watching their every move. Then, like a crow, the mysterious figure speeds away. Inside the enemy headquarters, Park is busy cleaning up. Suddenly, both he and the protagonist notice something flying nearby. Kang only sees a bunch of crows flying around. The Callo family had already been dealt with in the previous chapter. Now, the Gambino family is not their next target. The protagonist watches as the entire place gets torn apart. He thinks about Park, realizing it's been a while since he saw Park fight for real. Although they might be similar, Kang prefers to keep that side of himself hidden from Park. He then pets Blackie and tells him to finish them all off. Blackie, the cat, remarks that this is super convenient for the one who's just leaving all the hard work to him. Anyway, the pair finally relax and head to a coffee shop. Park teases Kang, calling him lazy. Apparently, since they got there, Kang only eats burgers. Morning, noon, and night. The protagonist defends himself, claiming that the burgers are the best he's ever had. Park insists, mentioning other food options, but Kang says he barely gets a break and doesn't want to waste it stressing about food. He quickly changes the subject, asking what Boss Gambino told Park. The manager simply says the boss doesn't know anything. Kang remembers that Park asked him to handle this specific task, but the manager shrugs it off, stating that the boss wouldn't do anything useful at the meeting anyway. And, speaking of which, the head of the Gambino family is absolutely furious. He makes call after call, but gets no answer. Not from the Sanchez's or the Falcones. This really worries him. He starts to think that his alliance might be completely shattered. Gambino is beyond furious, practically breathing fire, and he knows exactly who's responsible. He remembers Park's warning. Before leaving, Park told him that in 72 hours, his heart would stop and explode unless someone pressed a specific pressure point to reset it. Park had asked him if the leader understood. That's when the boss agreed that the Gambino family wouldn't join the meeting this time. Also, he had agreed to help catch those who killed Capon. Park had then told him he was smart and that he would let him live this time before simply leaving. But Boss Gambino was still suffering terribly. The procedure promised by Park hadn't happened yet, all because the meeting hadn't taken place yet. Hearing all this, Kang just says they've got nothing. The manager tries to reassure his friend, saying they'll definitely learn something at the meeting. He admits it's just a hunch, but he feels there's another player beyond the 5 major families. Sometime later, the big moment arrives. The families start arriving at the meeting place. They wait for everyone to be seated. Finally, a prominent figure, Marcellus, declares that it's getting late. The head of the Gambino family then points out that 2 families haven't even shown up. Vito immediately notices that Falcone and Sanchez are missing. Instantly, he deduces that they killed his father. Rebecca stops him. She tells him not to jump to conclusions, advising him to watch first. Vito nods, calling her the wisest. Suddenly, someone bursts in with urgent news. Meanwhile, Park and Kang are watching, from a distance. The new guy reveals that bosses Falcone and Sanchez are dead, and Kang realizes they have another enemy to deal with. Park comments that it's no wonder the 5 families seemed so weak. Kang starts to say that he thought he was getting stronger, but Park cuts him off. Suddenly, the lights go out. A single spotlight illuminates the stage. A mysterious cloaked figure appears and declares that it's perfect to have all the disgusting trash staining the city gathered together. He accuses them of dealing with corrupt politicians and exploiting workers through union manipulation. He calls them despicable criminals, always lying and causing chaos. The figure exposes all their crimes, introduces himself as Night Knight, and declares he is here to deliver justice. Vito asks if this Night Raven killed the other bosses. Night Knight confirms it and calls those villains cruel, saying their deaths were a small price to pay. He adds that Vito's father faced the same fate. Night Knight then warns Vito that he will suffer the same, calling him the son of a villain. Night Knight attacks, launching sharp feathers like projectiles. Rebecca instantly protects Vito, telling him not to expose himself to danger. Vito yells that Night Raven killed his father and that he wants revenge. Rebecca acknowledges his pain. He says a price must be paid for the good of this world. Vito's system immediately alerts him. The anti-hero Nightcrow is executing justice. Kang intervenes, saying that many villains deserve this punishment. He then unleashes dark magic and his familiar Blackie into the fight. Kang reveals a shocking truth. The true mastermind, Raiden King, was behind everything from the start. Vito, the protagonist, strikes Night Raven with his own dark magic, putting the adversary in a very difficult situation. But Night Raven finds an opening and counterattacks. Blackie's voice rings out, warning that Vito might accidentally kill Night Raven. Kang, seeing his cat familiar Blackie struggling too much, thinks he needs to feed him better. Kang decides to jump into action immediately. Kang grabs his opponent by the cloak, hitting him with a blast of magic, and Night Raven is hit with a Deathmark debuff that also exposes his weaknesses. Vito then activates his gossip keyword. This instantly shows him the target's full attribute window. It also allows him to stack the exposed weaknesses debuff even further. This move accidentally reveals all of Raven's secrets. His cloak radiates negative energy, his sharp feathers are a threat, and he's hiding a bunch of explosives. Raven has no idea he's fighting one of Kang's dark clones, and that this clone is watching his every move. Kang just can't believe this suicidal cosplayer thinks he's a hero. Raven quickly realizes he's outmatched. He asks if Kang is an outsider, but gets no answer. So Raven takes action. He summons several linked crows that explode anything in their path, and Park is shocked, wondering why there are so many. Park is an expert in one-on-one combat, but he sees Kang fighting Raven alone. Kang tells him that the bosses are the Parks, and that Park needs to protect them, no matter what. Kang insists that his friend is better at protecting than he is. Park doesn't agree with that, but Kang insists that killing is his specialty, and that's what he intends to do. Suddenly, Raven yells that the outsiders should be fighting for world peace. He demands to know why they are acting like puppets of evil. Kang just doesn't understand what Raven means by peace and unity. Raven shouts that he doesn't know how Kang's enemies deceived him. He calls them rotten villains and murderers, claiming they murdered the Capone family. He says they bought their freedom in court by bribing powerful people in the city because they feared revenge. Raven declares that this is the true nature of the city, and that's why he and his comrades demand justice. Raven insists that it's not too late. Fight for the city and for justice. He tries to get Kang to join him against these villains, but Kang fights, attacking Raven right in the middle of his speech. Kang tells him he talks too much instead of fighting, and that he hates facing people who wear masks. But then Kang sees Raven's face. He's just a young boy. Raven warns Kang not to underestimate his justice. Then, in a final desperate move, he activates an explosive. Kang is taken completely by surprise. Raven says the woman told him about this meeting point 3 days ago. He asks Kang how many explosives he thinks are planted around them. Kang suddenly finds himself in the middle of an explosion, barely avoiding the detonation. His friend appears, and the two of them escape thanks to Blackie's help. The explosion is visible from far away. The next day, after everything calms down, they regroup. Rebecca thanks them for their loyalty. She explains that thanks to them, most of the meeting's businesses are now in the hands of the Capone family. Kang tells her that the guys survived and that they won just like she wanted. Rebecca nods, stating that their work is done, but Kang suddenly asks if this whole situation was actually part of her plan. Rebecca demands to know what that has to do with him. Kang declares that his job is to eliminate all enemies of the Capone family. He says that Rebecca participated in the Godfather's murder and hired an anti-hero. He was told that Rebecca is a traitor, so she eliminated rivals, made the boy the new boss, and became the true power in Black York City. But Rebecca tries to deny it. She insists she did everything for Vito. She explains that Vito is super kind and innocent. She eliminated the Godfather who forced him to train and all other threats just to protect him from the cruelty of the world. Rebecca feels she was just fulfilling her duty as a guardian. Kang replies to her. He says she betrayed the man who saved her and then used his son as a puppet to become the queen of the night. Park intervenes. He tells her she is no guardian. Her actions have left the boy totally defenseless. She's only looking out for herself. Rebecca snaps back, saying that no outsider has the right to judge her. Park then suggests they just ask Vito what he thinks. Rebecca freezes. Vito was listening the whole time. The boy starts to cry, finally hearing the whole truth. She tries to explain, but Vito surprises everyone, reveals his hidden powers, and uses them to master it. Vito tells her she was right all along. This world is cruel. Mission complete. They head home. Park complains about not having a proper hero's adventure. Kang, meanwhile, is just happy to be back. Home without the press hounding him. His friend even suggests doing it again, but then his assistant arrives, telling them there's a huge problem. The level 5 tower in downtown Seoul is about to collapse. Even our protagonist is startled to hear that this specific level 5 tower was being raided by players from the association. They failed the first raid and barely escaped, but one player points out they'll all get 3 penalties for that failure. That means a demotion. Another player suggests a solution. Complete the challenge on hard difficulty. This spooks the others. He argues that they've worked too hard to get where they are. Everyone agrees. They won't go back to the bottom. They won't be slaves to the association, so they have to clear those penalties, and hard mode is the only way. They attempted a second raid on hard mode and got completely wiped out. On the way there, Kang mentions he's heard how brutal the association's merit and penalty system is. He doesn't think it's fair at all. A tower collapse is super rare, but strangely during the first 2 seasons, this disaster happened constantly. Back then, raids had no real strategy. Failure was the norm, the consequences brutal. It claimed many precious lives, including Kang's own family, both before he became a player and even after. But Kang knows things are different. Now he decides to unlock all his uncollected gear and skill packs. His current setup is strong, but he can't leave any room for error, no compromises. He prepares for something big, assembling a new skill deck. Soon, after a car ride, he arrives. The moment he steps out, the people go wild. The Hero King is here to help, but Kang's mind is already on the brutal challenges ahead. He looks up. A black hole is tearing open in the sky. The already terrified crowd gets even more scared, breaking into a panic. Some players get ready to fight, but Kang steps forward. He tells everyone who meets certain conditions to leave right now. First, if you might accidentally get caught in his skill, leave. Second, if you can't keep up, leave. And third, literally everyone else should leave. The other players get the message, falling back to let Kang work. Kang stands before a barrage of enemies, acting fast and cutting a path through them all. He quickly realizes the place is infested with strange creatures, more and more of them. He also spots something he's never seen before. Normally, enemies from a tower break are people from the inner realm, but these monsters don't fit. They're completely unrelated. He wonders where these things are coming from. Then, a news helicopter closes in, trying to cover the chaos. The reporter notes that while the Hero King is controversial, when it comes to his skills, he gets the job done. Kang receives a terrifying alert. The Monarch of the Abyss is awakening. Darkness from the depths. At the same time, the reporter announces that the portal is changing color. They deduce this is a prelude to the arrival of an Abyss monster. Everyone wonders how an Abyss monster is coming out of a tower. Kang quickly moves toward the helicopter. He tells them to get out before they're thrown right to the monsters. As he moves, he wonders if the Monarch acted alone. Then his system screams an alert. The Abyss slime has appeared. Kang expected this. He immediately starts his attack, but he wonders, Will it be enough? He decides he needs to finish this in one blow, a single blow. He charges an ice attack, mixing it with shadow skills and Charlotte's Web. He connects 2 points, creating a web of death with extreme cutting power. Kang combines everything and crushes the Abyss Slime, and successfully stops the tower from breaking. The Abyss Monarch is so impressed that he even hands Kang a special gem as a reward. Back in the real world, the local press swarms him as usual. Everyone sees the Hero King stop the tower break all by himself. News of the incident explodes. Kang is frustrated. He blames the association. He explains that the other players failed the raid, then got scared by the penalties and ran away. Their cowardice actually caused the tower break. The press immediately questions the association. They admit some fault, but quickly try to justify themselves. For Kang, the only thing that matters is that the media is now holding the association accountable. He celebrates this small victory with his friend Park. Park insists they need to use this opportunity to cleanse the association. Kang jokingly asks if he plans to run for president. Park laughs, saying no. His real plan is to create a new guild. Kang immediately points out the law. It states that each nation can only have one guild, which makes Park's idea nearly impossible. But Park replies, saying this is exactly why they need to seize this moment and change that rule. He emphasizes the many absurdities of the association, how they can set rules for the towers if they've never entered one themselves. Park adds that the association only promotes players with sponsorships, ignoring everyone else. He argues that with public opinion on their side, they can completely change this situation. Kang just wishes his friend good luck, but Park declares this is Kang's business too. Kang tries to argue, saying it's Park's duty, not his own. Park, however, completely disagrees. Park tells Kang that the people are on the Hero King's side, so he insists that Kang should be the one to create the guild. Shortly after, a petition demanding the creation of another guild surpasses 170,000 signatures. The existing guild, naturally, refuses to acknowledge it. Public opinion clearly leans toward the Hero King and the veteran players, much to the association president's disgust. The president is absolutely sure that Kang and his manager are behind this whole movement. He claims they don't understand the real danger that common players pose to civilians. He points out that in some countries, lax governments allow guilds to link up with the underworld. He even mentions how some nations have become total domains of dark players. Even the United States, which allows private player guilds, uses its military to control its strongest players. The president sees all players as walking bombs. Without perfect management, he believes they become impossible to control. Therefore, he concludes that anyone against his stance is simply narrow-minded and doesn't truly understand how the world works. Then his phone rings. His system displays a message. The evil monarch is watching him. It asks if the president wants to accept a tower challenge. Meanwhile, a commercial starts playing on screens everywhere. It's an old ad featuring our hero. People recognize his old armor from last season. Everyone wonders why this old ad is still on the air. Our protagonist, Kang, is actually thinking about that new guild. Park had really pushed him to create it, but Kang had seen a ton of problems with the idea. Park told Kang not to worry about the small stuff. He just needed to be the leader. His manager would handle all the heavy lifting. Park insisted that to fix the world, they needed the Hero King. Kang was the only one who could pull it off. Kang reflected on that. He also wondered why the Hero King always charged into battle first. Before anyone else, Kang felt his true calling was clearing towers. He checked his system for towers at his level, but found nothing, so he turned off his GPS. He knew there were other ways to enter towers. Sometimes you just got a charm and waited for the call. After his last mission, the boss dropped a charm for him. Kang knew these charms were the link between the world of the towers and reality, but he had a feeling he wouldn't be getting a call anytime soon. All he could do was wait. Suddenly, an alert echoed throughout the city. A starting tower was about to appear. Soon everyone would see the top-ranked players of the 5th season fight live. Kang was laughing it all off, but his system showed a warning. The Clown Monarch was super excited for him to join in worldwide. Organizations scrambled. Information about this tower was non-existent, and everything was going to be broadcast live. But here's the shocker. If the players failed the challenge, 100,000 random people would die. Kang was terrified at first, but then he realized this was exactly the motivation he needed. Suddenly, he was ready. He agreed to participate in this mysterious tower. Then Kang and countless other players from around the world entered the tower at the same instant. Inside, Kang spotted some familiar faces. He told them he could barely contain his joy. It had been an eternity since he'd seen them all together. The Saintess approached to greet him. Kang immediately asked if she was cosplaying. She said no and then added that she liked seeing him in his normal version. He retorted by asking when he had ever been different. The Saintess mentioned the 7th level tower raid. She had been worried watching the broadcast because Kang looked completely exhausted. Kang realized that she was genuinely worried. He quickly reassured her, saying he was fine. and that he wouldn't stop going on raids. Just then, another player approached. This player told Kang that if he was feeling alright, he should leave now, adding that he was the last Hero King. The so-called last Hero King questioned how a high-ranking player like Kang could be the last to arrive. Kang retorted, explaining that he couldn't worry about the time when 100,000 lives were at stake. He then asked if the player was expecting some cheesy movie line, like how the last one to show up is the one who saves everyone. But the player objected, arguing that the first to arrive always face the greatest danger. Kang then totally provoked the guy, asking him if he had rehearsed that speech. Kang basically accused him of faking it, stating that he didn't care at all and was just pretending. Naturally, the player didn't take it well, and the two quickly escalated into a full-blown argument. Suddenly, an older player stepped in, interrupting them. Kang immediately challenged him, demanding to know why he dared to show up without proper gear. The older man calmly replied that it wasn't the start of the season yet. He sincerely believed that no one would die in this particular tower, reminding them that the whole world was watching. Right after that, the system issued an alert. It announced that everyone would temporarily receive a full set of gear and skills from the 5th season until they left the tower. Skills and equipment immediately began to be distributed among the group. The old man, who introduced himself as York, the gravedigger and CEO of an artifact company, said that this gear would make the probability of anyone dying even lower. With York's help, the players felt their power grow, ready for action. Then, a woman approached Maria, shaking her head in disbelief. This was Lydia, an international master player and a member of the police force. She couldn't believe they were playing mind games at such a critical moment, joking that men's maturity truly had no limits. The saint reminded them that they needed to understand how many lives depended on the success of this tower raid. Suddenly, Lieutenant General Kilgore, of the U.S., joined the conversation, declaring that everyone must fulfill their duties to the planet and their nations. The gravedigger warned everyone to be extremely careful with their actions in this place. Kang, however, muttered that they should have broadcast the Plague Lord's raid instead. Just then, a new figure appeared, greeting them and apologizing for the delay. The masked individual announced that this was a festival for them, a symbol to appreciate the heroes who killed the Plague Lord. Then, he officially welcomed all the assembled heroes. Kang immediately challenged him, asking why he was celebrating the death of a monarch when, supposedly, they were friends. The masked figure then advised the Hero King not to provoke the monarchs. He even asked if Kang preferred the title of Monarch Slayer, a name Kang earned by eliminating the season's boss. However, the Red Guardian, clearly in competition with Kang, refused, flatly refusing to acknowledge that some brat had won that title and felt something had to be done about it. Anyway, the masked figure insisted this was a celebration in honor of the players and hoped they wouldn't feel stressed. But the Red Guardian instantly attacked the masked man, yelling, asking if this was some kind of joke. He declared that it was impossible to consider 100 million lives a celebration. Kang just watches, finding the Red Guardian pathetic. He thinks the guy is only doing this to look good for the audience. The masked man then tells the Red Guardian that his attacks are useless anyway. They're all nullified, so he's just wasting energy. With a snap, he announces that it's time to explain the rules of the tower. He tells all the viewers to vote for their favorite player. Soon, the broadcast viewers will decide who becomes the hero of the tower. Kang immediately gets annoyed, complaining that they could totally rig the votes, but the masked man quickly covers Kang's mouth. He warns Kang to be careful what he says, reminding him that they have strict rules to follow. The masked man explains that their mission is simple: capture the viewer's interest and keep them entertained. How they do that is entirely up to them. Each player's individual votes will be converted into points. But if the vote count is too low or if they simply can't keep people watching, the raid fails. And a failed raid means millions will die. So the masked man tells everyone to get a move on. They need to use everything they've got to create an interesting show for the world. Right after that, the Red Guardian and the Swordmaster challenge the Hero King to a duel in the arena. Kang quickly asks why he even needs to fight. The masked man explains that he can't refuse an opponent's challenge. He adds that even if someone dies in the arena, they'll just respawn there anyway. He then creates the arena, telling the players they can't leave until the tower's voting is over. Before the fight even begins, the protagonist has a quick question. He asks the Red Guardian if he really wants another fight after getting crushed last time. The Red Guardian replies that if he can't beat the protagonist, all his votes will be useless. He declares that he'll make up for his past defeat on the first day of the season. Filled with pure rage, he charges. Kang, meanwhile, decides to stir things up. He taunts the Red Guardian, saying that hitting rock bottom must feel awful. The Red Guardian takes the bait, attacking with an even more furious intensity. He uses the solitary sword of the 9. The other players are completely shocked. The protagonist is actually holding his own against the Red Guardian, and not only is he using his own sword, he's also somehow using the Red Guardian's exact same skills. The Gravedigger immediately thinks this has to be a skill copy, and even the Red Guardian notices it. He wonders if the Hero King made a contract with the Monarch of Mirrors. The Red Guardian claims he dedicated his entire life to that sword, so he simply can't understand how the protagonist is winning this duel against him. Outside the arena, the Gravedigger watches the Hero King's fight and finds it magnificent. He then asks how any of them could possibly kill the king. Lydia questions, why is he saying that, since he isn't even fighting the Hero King? But the Gravedigger tells her she needs glasses. He points out that the real threats to the Hero King seem to be the other players themselves. Lydia realizes this and can't believe they're still acting this way given the situation. Meanwhile, the Saintess is the only one truly upset by everything. The Saintess understands that 100 million lives depend entirely on the outcome of the tower, but the other players only cared about one thing: beating the Hero King and climbing to the top. Maria remembered Kay's speech. He had said that even if the world ended tomorrow, people would still fight among themselves. And now Maria realized he was absolutely right. In the first 2 seasons, everyone entered the tower solely to save the world, but those days were long gone. Maria couldn't help but wonder why. She thought about it. The players got stronger every season, sure, but the tower levels also went up annually, and the bosses were becoming ridiculously powerful. The idea of everyone uniting to save the world now seemed like a total fairy tale. Maria admitted she was no longer that innocent young woman who had just awakened. The races were different, the religions were different, the skin colors were different, but if people couldn't unite even in a game, with the world's destruction on the line, Maria wondered how they could ever truly save it. Meanwhile, back in the fight, the Red Guardian found all this seriously strange. The game was unfair, yes, but he felt like he understood the protagonist. No matter how strong the Hero King was, there had to be a reason for it. He thought that Kang was hiding a secret. The Guardian concluded that if he could just figure out Kang's true power, he could definitely beat him. At this point, the Red Guardian didn't even care about winning or losing. He just wanted to uncover the secret of his opponent's immense strength, but he wasn't exactly winning. Kang told him he seemed to have forgotten his place, considering how easy Kang had been going on him. That statement left the Red Guardian completely stunned. Kang seized the moment by attacking him with even more force. The Red Guardian quickly realized his opponent had far more secrets than he had ever imagined. Then, Kang declared he was about to show the true difference to anyone who dared to fight him again. Immediately, Kang unleashed a devastating ground attack. It tore up a huge part of the battlefield. The Red Guardian was completely shocked. He had so many other plans, but now everything was going down the drain. Then Kang switched to his secondary deck and burst from a sandstorm looking completely different. Everyone watching was absolutely stunned. At this point, the Red Guardian completely lost faith in his own victory. That's because the protagonist manifested a mythical skill. The manifestation of the Heavenly Demon. Kang transformed into a Heavenly Demon, wielding 3 formidable Heavenly Demon swords. He entered his first form, opening a dimensional rift of pure power. He slashed his opponent from multiple directions, leaving the Red Guardian bleeding profusely. Then, Kang unleashed the second form of the 3 Heavenly Demon swords, known only as Destruction. The other players are stunned. The Red Guardian fell too quickly. The Masked Man declares the end of the match. He praises the Hero King for a magnificent fight, just as he expected. He then announces that the voting has begun. The numbers climb, but the red player remains stuck at 0. Kang acts like it's nothing, but now he looks like a supervillain. His entire aura is dark. Even the Gravedigger is perplexed. Kang Yuun is completely unrecognizable. Even the girls are startled to see him, but the audience loves seeing Kang. Some players notice that Kang copied the Gravedigger's equipment and skills. 2 friends are talking. One asks how Kang can be human like them. His friend corrects him, saying that Kang kept them all alive. The first friend asks what they should call Kang. The other says, it's simple, the Hero King Kang. He then asks the other players about their stunned faces. He asks if they've never seen his copy ability before. The Gravedigger points out that Kang's copy ability alone can't explain the manifestation of the Heavenly Demon. Lydia agrees. She says this isn't just a simple copy. She has fought another copy user before, the Face Collector. A terrible dark player who hides his rank. He would copy opponents by literally slicing off their faces and wearing them. Lydia admits that Kang's ability is similar, but says there are limits to mere copying. Kang explains that, obviously, he has more than just a copy ability. He asks if they're that curious, as they both try to maintain their poker faces. He agrees to tell them one thing. Kang then reveals his biggest secret. He made a pact with a monarch of truth, which is why he can only speak the truth. Even as the world changes around him, the Gravedigger Chork looks at Kang's appearance and thinks he'll be his next opponent. But Kang replies that he hates fighting more than anything in this world. He also hates aggressive idiots. George Bill Mayer, clearly not knowing his place, demands to know what exactly Kang is planning. Kang states that from now on, he will convince the entire audience with a simple and powerful truth. The masked man interrupts, arguing that self-promotion is absolutely crucial for the vote. Then, the stage moves. Kang prepares to speak. He taps the microphone, asking if everyone is paying close attention. He declares they have no other choice anyway. He then sees his own face on the TV and changes the channel himself. Anyway, he announces that 10 heroes are gathered in the tower. Everyone needs to vote for one of them. If the votes are too low, 100,000 people will get a one-way trip straight to oblivion. So everyone must understand how unbelievable this is. If things go wrong, the exact same thing could happen to their heroes. He points out that he tried to warn him to be very careful with his words, but he wouldn't accept it at all. He shot back, asking what the problem was and if the gravedigger was bothered by talk of heroes losing their relevance. Kang pointed out how incredibly strange it was that people still revered these national heroes so much, especially after everything that had happened between them. Then, noticing the old man's obvious discomfort, Kang sarcastically asked if the gravedigger's dream of reviving the Third Empire was supposed to be some big secret. The gravedigger immediately demanded to know how Kang dared to insult someone with absolutely no evidence, but Kang just smirked dismissively. He had a contract with the Monarch of Truth, remember? That meant he could expose anyone's deepest lies and secrets. He declared that everything he had said was absolutely 100% true, no arguments about it. So Kang urged everyone watching to vote very carefully and choose wisely. He warned them. It wasn't just one or two lunatics hiding among the players, and then he dropped a name, Count Vladimir. Count Vladimir was clearly shocked and speechless. He stammered, claiming he had no idea what Kang was talking about, but Kang just raised an eyebrow, saying that was rather odd, especially since Vladimir himself had talked about reviving the empire. Vladimir frantically tried to shut Kang up, but that only fueled him even more. He went on, airing out all of the Count's dirty laundry live for absolutely everyone to see. Kang even taunted him. If something was bothering Vladimir, he should just wait for his turn to show off his own magic. The Count roared, declaring that he would not tolerate this humiliation any longer, not with his parents and the president watching. Kang then added that Vladimir was quite a devout man, even despite having a powerful fire attribute. Next, Kang went after Lieutenant General Kilgore, claiming that Kilgore also loved to play with fire and not just metaphorically. He was talking about Kilgore's secret habit of dropping bombs on enemy countries. Kilgore got super nervous, asking Kang if he truly understood the grave consequences of his words. Kang replied with a firm and resounding yes. He declared that to the true heroes who save the world, a nationalist lunatic like the gravedigger, an imperialist like Count Vladimir, and a war fanatic like Kilgore were all, without exception, just opportunists. And Kang warned that the people would definitely not be happy to hear that. Kilgore, furious, tried to attack Kang, but Kang instantly blocked him, asking, "What the hell was that?" Kilgore shot back, asking if Kang was underestimating him. Oh, if only he knew, because Kang was about to show him the best fighter jets. The girls watching screamed, saying that this crazy general was trying to kill Kang. Kilgore unleashed his exclusive skill, but he froze on the spot. Shocked, Kang had done the exact same thing. Kilgore stared him down, demanding to know how Kang had copied his move. Kang just shrugged, replying that the skill wasn't so exclusive after all. Then George Beller, the gravedigger, stepped forward. He asked if the Hero King thought he'd be fine after slandering and attacking the honor of his comrades. Kang simply replied by asking if George even considered them true comrades. How could comrades try to stab him in the back at the first opportunity? The gravedigger quickly claimed it was all just a misunderstanding, but Kang completely shut him down. He reminded them again of his contract with the Monarch of Truth. He knew all their secrets. He pointed out that they had been doing whatever they wanted for years and years, but now that they were on camera, they suddenly got upset. Kang challenged them, asking why they were so worried now. That wasn't like them, and he promised he could keep telling the truth all day long. Everyone already knew that the world wouldn't change a single thing. George Bellmeyer then asked if the Hero King would blame the world like a spoiled brat. Kang retorted that he was just a kid and couldn't deal with old men. This attitude absolutely delighted the clown monarch, who then granted the protagonist a wish. Right after that, the heavenly demon manifested. The Tomb Guardian just watched, wondering what the protagonist was trying to do. Meanwhile, Kang knew his wish had been granted and was about to come true. The masked man announced that the protagonist's time was up. He said it was time for another hero to speak because everyone deserved a chance. Maria stepped forward, saying she also had something very important to tell the public. The masked man then changed the stage, telling Maria she could speak freely. The protagonist thought the stage she chose was rather strange, but the saintess interrupted him, telling him to stop talking because it was her turn now. Kang shot back, calling her honey just to provoke her. Maria then declared that she would show the world the real Hero King right then and there. That line hit very hard. The entire audience became super anxious, including Kang Yuun himself. He tried to interfere, but Maria simply retorted with a taunt, asking, "Honey, what's wrong?" Kang then wondered if it was too late to apologize. After her speech, the tower was finally complete, and the voting results were about to come out. The protagonist checked the data, scratching his head about the votes, until he realized they were totally rigged, but he didn't really care because he had won what he believed was rightfully his. His system then popped up, confirming that he had obtained the manifestation of the heavenly demon. They now had the 3 divine relics, the mythological equipment, the title, and a brand new skill. Only 3 months had passed, and he hadn't even opened the mythological equipment called the Black Plague, which he won after beating the Plague Lord. You see, mythological skills and weapons aren't for just anyone. You need to be qualified, fail the test, and your stats drop, or you just die. Even the Red Guardian received a huge penalty just for losing a challenge once. But the protagonist had already tried this before. Last season, he thought he could totally equip his new gear now. He thought he could change his weapon. Later, and using the skill now would be a huge advantage. So he activated the Heavenly Demon's manifestation for the first time. His system immediately warned him that he would have to prove his worth. Suddenly, the protagonist is teleported to another place. An old man stands in front of him, ready to test his worth. Kang tells him he's here to make a deal and hopes it will be quick, just like last time. The system confirms that the test has begun. He needs to block 2 basic moves from the Heavenly Demon. The opponent prepares to attack. The protagonist immediately notices something strange. The old man attacks with the Heavenly Demon's triple sword from the very first move. It's incredibly fast, but Kang barely manages to defend himself. He admits that this is quite exciting, and confirms that he had faced this before. The opponent attacks again. Once again, the protagonist blocks it, but this time, the energy from the impact is massive. The old man really feels it. Then, he sheathes his sword, realizing that the protagonist now holds a new title. The protagonist asks if he's referring to the Monarch Slayer title. The old man confirms, asking if the protagonist truly earned it. Kang says yes. Since the test is over, he asks if the old man will always appear when he summons the Heavenly Demon. The old man is still processing the news. The protagonist asks if something is wrong, but the old man simply says he likes Kang. Then, the whole stage starts to move. The protagonist demands to know why his opponent is completely ignoring him. Instead, he lunges forward, telling Kang to show him his swordsmanship. They are fighting again, but the protagonist has no idea why. He thought the test was over. The old man doesn't stop. Kang begs him to stop, warning that he will kill him if this continues. The old man says the protagonist's sword is still enchanted. He asks if the protagonist used it to kill the monarch, warning that he won't be recognized as the winner if that's the case. Kang replies by asking how he was supposed to defeat the Heavenly Demon with his own skills. He explains that if he could have used that sword, he would have done so and wouldn't have traveled to seek greater power. Surprisingly, the old man seems to agree. Then, the Heavenly Demon announces that he will test him in another way. He strikes the ground so hard that it causes another earthquake. After that, he lunges back into the fight, but this time, it's hand-to-hand combat. Kang asks why the old man is going so far and just wants a reason. The opponent finally reveals it's because the protagonist killed a monarch. He claims that the answer the protagonist is looking for might be inside Kang Yuun himself. The protagonist is terrified, but the Heavenly Demon gives him no time. He draws his triple sword again, challenging the protagonist to try and stop it. Kang is completely disoriented, caught in a situation he wasn't prepared for. He's super confused after the attack. He sees no wound, no sign of a cut. He doesn't even know what he was hit with. The Heavenly Demon explained that he had spent his entire life searching the world for a fighter who could defeat him, but no matter where he went, he never lost. He just couldn't understand what defeat felt like, not even when death itself called for him. The Grim Reaper pursued him, but the demon still couldn't find anyone strong enough to finally take him down. He began to wonder if such a person even existed. Every Murim master from every country and every empire, even God's Reaper, all fell short against his sword. He quickly realized that everything was useless against him, but this was the first time he'd met a mortal who actually killed a monarch. It made him question if Kang was really different or just another easy win. He wanted to know what this meant for him. The demon's words made Kang reflect. His whole life flashed before his eyes. Then he remembered what the saintess had said in the tower. She had told him that he was kinder than anyone could imagine, with an incredibly soft heart. She also called him a crybaby and a coward, even a spoiled child when his friends died. He had cried non-stop for a whole week after learning about the sacrifices made when a raid failed. All the saintess did was listen to his endless complaints. Remembering this made Kang feel isolated. Then, the Heavenly Demon declared that Kang would, eventually, find an answer. Kang asked what answer he even wanted. Was it the meaning of defeat, the meaning of death, or even the meaning of life itself? The Heavenly Demon was truly surprised that Kang was still alive, but then he kept remembering what the saintess had said, because no matter what, she insisted that Kang never gave up. No matter how painful or terrifying things got or how much they hurt him, Kang kept fighting for the world. Even if everything meant nothing in the end, Kang argued that you can only break what is real, not what is intangible. A meaning was no different. He asked if this wasn't the fundamental principle of the Heavenly Demon's triple sword technique. The Heavenly Demon then revealed that he had actually died a long time ago, so he argued that he couldn't defeat a meaning that didn't even exist. The demon couldn't believe that Kang claimed to be on his level. If Kang truly understood meaninglessness, he couldn't be the hero king. He questioned if Kang was just an idiot trying to protect something completely meaningless. Kang replied that he didn't do it out of duty, but because his actions were meaningless. He pointed out that heroes constantly save the world, working tirelessly to defend their plane. But, on the other side, they had all sorts of lunatics coming after them, attacking endlessly. The Heavenly Demon then asked, what the hell could be more meaningless than that? He even agreed that it was all pointless, so he sheathed his sword, telling Kang he looked forward to their next meeting. Right after that, the system declared Kang a worthy player. He simply went home thinking that this was the life of a hero. His system then announced that he could now use the true manifestation of the Heavenly Demon, but then Kang suddenly collapsed, scaring his cat. Later, Kang was taking his temperature. Blackie, his cat, wondered why Kang seemed so weak. He quickly denied it, insisting that he wasn't weak and that his stats were the best in the world. The cat kept asking why he was sick, but Kang swore he was perfectly fine. He was just angry about the internet chatter. He said he needed to clear a level 8 or 9 tower to blow off some steam. Blackie then pointed out that those towers didn't even exist yet. Kang checked his calendar. It was only March. He remembered from previous seasons that the higher-level towers usually started to appear, but that was still a month away. Besides, these advanced towers weren't even in his country's territory. Once unlocked, he could jump right in like in his games. For now, he wanted to go to a level 7 tower, but Blackie told him he wasn't going anywhere, claiming it was for his own good. Despite that, Kang snuck out to a level 3 tower. Shortly after, he arrived there and noticed it looked like the tower he cleared at the beginning of the season. He told himself he wasn't there for anything special. He just needed to blow off some steam. He prepared to use his new power, thinking how silly skill names always were. But as he invoked the Heavenly Demon's manifestation, a strange sensation took over his body. His system displayed a warning. The Heavenly Demon was influencing him. Then Khan's body began to twist, and he even coughed up blood. Of course, he immediately blamed the old man who gave him this power. His system then announced that the receptacle was complete and that adjustments were beginning. As he screamed in agony, Khan couldn't believe he had actually obtained the Heavenly Demon's power permanently. His system then confirmed that he had acquired the Heavenly Demon's bone blessing. He wondered if his entire body had changed. Moments later, he saw the bone transformation firsthand. It turns out everything was happening inside him, not affecting his exterior. Then, the system warns him. The floor has just collapsed, linking him to the second floor. Suddenly, a group of orcs appears and attacks him. This was perfect for him. He finally had a chance to test his new power. After crushing them all, he notices a third basic move he didn't have before. He wonders why this move has no name or why it wasn't part of the original ancient skill. Then, it dawns on him. It's the Sword of the Void, the same one the Heavenly Demon used against him. Now Kang has this power too. He wonders how much of it he can actually use. He's about to find out because he sees a gate. He wants to enter once it opens. The synchronization rate is stuck at 1%. His system shouts, a fusion with the enthroned monarch of death. The sword monarch is taking place. Kang never saw this coming. The system says the Lord of Penance is trying to stop this ritual. Kang asks if the Heavenly Demon was a monarch. He also remembers the Heavenly Demon saying that he sought the ultimate fighter, someone who could have made him taste defeat. And that was the first time Kang met a mortal who killed a monarch. Kang quickly connected the dots. That was why the Heavenly Demon acted so strangely, because Kang killed someone like him. As he processes this, his system warns that several monarchs are secretly observing him. The clown monarch watches with a blank expression. Kang is quite surprised. The clown asks him why he's so serious. Kang simply walks through the gate. He thinks that these monarchs can be quite terrifying. Anyway, he's in the boss room now. It's time to face the big guy. The boss tells Kang to give him an honorable fight and then die. Kang plans to do just that. Well, except for the dying part. With a single strike from his new skill, he shatters the boss into countless pieces. He finally sees the true power of the Heavenly Demon, but then a sharp pain hits him. He has no idea why. He wonders if he overdid it with the skill. Kang's body can't handle this skill yet. These different powers are clashing inside of him. Suddenly, he hears the voice of the Heavenly Demon in his head, saying that nothing in this world makes sense. He wonders if it's just a memory. Kang decides the origin of the power doesn't matter. It's his now. He uses his frozen sword, channeling the power of the Heavenly Demon, and somehow controls it. Kang sighs in relief, even finding it funny. Kang returns to the real world and calls Park. His friend asks, "What's up?" Kang vents that he's so angry he could move to France. Park, confused, asks why he called. Kang clarifies that it's nothing important. He just needs a sparring partner. Park jokes, asking when the National Intelligence Agency started working for the Hero King. Kang replies with a quip, suggesting they change the agency's name to Hero King and Company. Park doesn't find it funny. Park gets straight to the point, demanding to know the conditions. Kang explains. The others can prepare however they want. He'll only use one skill, the Heavenly Demon's Manifestation. No side decks, no artifacts, no synergy. And Blackie will stay completely out of this fight. Park asks if Kang will use his Ice Smith or his other usual weapons. Kang replies that he was about to equip something right now. Park feels a sudden chill. Then Kang equips it, and everyone is stunned. Not only is he holding a new weapon, he has a completely new look. Manager Park and the others are completely shocked. As he equips the new weapons, acidic drops fall to the ground, causing gasps, especially when he raises them to match his new appearance. Park sees it all up close and asks if this is the power of the Plague Lord. Park tries to talk to Kang, but gets no response. The manager starts to worry, asking if Kang even passed the trial. Kang finally changes his stance, replying with a firm yes, stating that he would never fail something so simple. Park and the others finally breathe a sigh of relief. Kang's new look had really scared them. These swords, called the Black Plague, are from the Plague Lord and boast incredibly strong attributes. After showing them off, Kang rushes everyone to enter the tower. Kang explains that besides these new weapons and the Heavenly Demon's descent, he has nothing else. Park then makes him promise one thing: no cruel deaths for the guys. Kang agrees, assuring him he'll go easy. Inside, he walks to the center of the arena, ready for battle. He announces that once the fireworks go off, the fight begins. They can attack whenever they're ready. He's confident the assassin department is skilled enough to make this worthwhile. Immediately, they charge, but Kang counterattacks, taking down several opponents instantly. Some of them are tougher than usual, but Kang keeps them at bay. Manager Park sees an opportunity, attacking from a distance while Kang is distracted. He sees his friend moving high above. Park unleashes his cone breakers, but Kang just laughs, saying he won't fall for that old trick. But Park smiles confidently and then vanishes. Suddenly, a barrage of rockets heads toward Kang. He barely manages to dodge the deadly projectiles. But wait, those weren't just projectiles from Kang. In reality, strong cables connected them, allowing other assassins to walk on air. Kang is impressed by the tactic, but he instantly counters. This is Charlotte's Web, and its creator is a genius. Then, the nets catch plates from the floor, launching them into the air. Kang sees his enemies closing in. Dark spikes erupt from the ground, so he leaps into the air. He still doesn't know who controls this crazy web, so he decides to find the source. He suddenly spots a girl. It's Aya, his best disciple. However, she doesn't cower before the Hero King. She challenges him, asking if he's really going to fight her. Kang just readies his new daggers. From a distance, he unleashes his power, creating a massive energy blast that tears through his opponents. He explains that his twin daggers double their effect. Kang moves through the air, even taking a moment to admire his handiwork. On the ground, everyone is unconscious, including Manager Park. Park is stunned, genuinely thinking he was about to die. Kang suggests they call off the training. His friend immediately agrees, admitting they can't continue. He points out that Kang completely trashed the place. He then asks if Kang has ever considered world domination. Kang just wants to know why he suddenly changed the subject. Park claims that, in his opinion, the first Hero King could totally do it, since no one could match him. But Kang cuts him off, insisting they need to leave quickly. Once outside, Park gets the others' attention. After all, they're only down because they passed out from the defeat. Park tells Kang he can always count on them if he ever needs to sharpen his skills again. Just then, Kang's system activates. The alternate history tower is calling him. And not only that, Lieutenant General Kilgore is asking for his help. Kang remembers their last encounter, a fight that was broadcast live. He finds it quite embarrassing that Kilgore is asking him for help. Still, he thinks that if he refuses and a tower break occurs, things would be much worse. Kang declares he's ready for action. His friend asks if he really has to leave this very instant. Kang confirms, saying he's heading straight to the United States. Park isn't thrilled about Kang just taking off, wondering what's really going on, but Kang ignores him, heading straight for the tower. He finds Kilgore, who's looking incredibly anxious. Kang approaches, asking since when Kilgore became so interested in the tower's inner world. Kilgore jumps, surprised to see Kang there. He wonders how Kang even showed up. Is he sure this tower isn't linked to South Korea? Kang immediately confronts him, asking how he can deny begging for help. Kilgore quickly retorts, insisting he would never ask someone like Kang for help. Kang instantly realizes his monarch tricked him. He admits his mistake, apologizing, but then points out that, since he's here, he might as well help Kilgore. Just then, his system displays an alert. It says armed combatants fighting enemies of freedom are looking for an opportunity. Kilgore, softening up, thanks Kang for offering to help. He declares that even in a tower world, as someone from a nation built on freedom, forgiveness is not on the table. He adds that Kang is definitely a good player and, just this once, he'll team up. Kang remarks that in situations like these, Kilgore always cooperates quietly, but Kang, genuinely conflicted by global destruction, thinks this whole mess might be a good thing. He explains that when facing a tyrant, everyone suddenly unites for a common cause. But Kang, who absolutely despises imperialism, mentions that Kilgore once worked alongside a gravedigger outside the tower. Kilgore clearly doesn't appreciate that jab. Kang continues, pointing out that even if Kilgore hated the gravedigger, the fact that he joined forces proves Kang really scares the general. He then warns Kilgore, betray him one more time and there will be no forgiveness. With that, the two set off on their mission. Onlookers watch them as if they were gods. Kang quickly gets into character as Kilgore demands these new men reveal who they are. Their captain steps forward, introducing himself as Lieutenant Aldo Pitt, who commands a unit called the Bastards, part of the domestic forces of the nation of Kittinan from the Free Alliance. Kang, looking around, asks how they ended up here instead of a military camp. Kilgore takes over, asking about the current situation. Aldo explains that the damn Paxi Empire has completely surrounded their base. Kang just shrugs, saying it was pretty much expected. They're deep in enemy territory, right? So the protagonist looks outside and gets a shock. The enemies aren't necromancers, Aldo quickly explains. Necromancers are usually the elite troops, so they're always placed right in the middle of the action. These guys aren't messing around. Kilgore tells them to let the enemies take their time. His team has one mission, to annihilate every last one of them. This objective really gets the general fired up. He announces he'll explain the plan to his allies right now. Kilgore declares they will go out and kill every enemy in their path. He also orders them to show absolutely no mercy. With that, they charge out, completely hyped for the fight. The Paxi Empire's elite squad has the camp completely surrounded. The general joins his team, but the men are surprised to see him fighting with only a shield. Kilgore tells them to follow him, promising the shield will protect them all. They follow, shouting about fighting. For freedom. The protagonist thinks it feels great to be free, but he just watches Kilgore and the others do all the work. They're absolutely massacring the enemy army from a rooftop. When Kang detects something suspicious, he goes to investigate and quickly takes down the enemy snipers. On the ground, Kilgore is taking care of the soldiers. He sees Kang giving them air support from above, while he and the others fight below. The protagonist jumps from rooftop to rooftop, taking out snipers. Then Kilgore approaches him. He reminds the protagonist that he told him to be ruthless. Kang replies that, as long as they're dead, he's happy, but the general strongly disagrees. He says that every enemy soldier must suffer. He wants a brutal death for every enemy on the field. This way, any survivors will know exactly who they're up against, and the terror will spread. The protagonist thinks the general sounds like a movie villain. Suddenly, an enemy air invasion begins. His allies are terrified, but not the general. He declares that he will show them true air power. Kilgore then uses his summoning abilities, just as he did against Kang in the tower. He summons his F-20 jets, nicknamed An Intense Aerial Battle Begins, but the enemy jets don't stand a chance. The F-20s absolutely annihilate them all. The allies cheer for their victory. They celebrate by thanking the players for the triumph. Kilgore tells them to remember their duty, what it takes to maintain peace. The protagonist thinks it's all nonsense, but the general insists that war is the only path to peace. Kang immediately retorted, arguing that true peace comes from not fighting, but the general wouldn't budge. Anyway, the Continental Conquest Tower was finally cleared. Meanwhile, across the world, a powerful player was facing his enemies. This was the Gravedigger, and he declared that his work was finally done. But, to bring his twisted ideology to life, he had one request for the immortal monarch. He wanted to delay this specific moment in history. The monarch granted him this small moment of self-indulgence, and, thus, the Gravedigger's return was put on hold. The Gravedigger promised to prove his loyalty to the monarch very soon. Meanwhile, back with our heroes, the general kept insisting that starting wars before the enemies did was the only way to find peace. With that, he ordered even more attacks. But the protagonist began to wonder if they weren't actually attacking Allied territory. They kept advancing. Kilgore mentioned how much he loved the smell of napalm in the morning. Kang pointed out that the whole place reeked of gasoline, but the general retorted that was exactly what he meant. He called it the smell of victory. The protagonist found the general's attitude quite pathetic. Kilgore then asked Lieutenant Aldo Pitt for the location of the enemy command base. Aldo reported that it was currently in the Pao Empire, specifically in the nation of Kittin, inside a skyscraper in the city of White York. Kilgore was shocked, asking if the very heart of the alliance had become an enemy command base. Aldo confirmed it. adding that even the Shield of Liberty had been replaced by the statue of their governor-general. This news threw the general into a rage. He declared that he would take down that statue himself. As they tried to advance, they ran into an obstacle. The 3rd Occultist Battalion, the elite team of the Pauji Empire, was ready for an ambush. Kang stepped forward, saying he would take care of this. Kilgore quickly decided they would take a detour and head straight for the enemy command base, but the necromancers wouldn't let them go so easily. The protagonist saw the situation and called Blackie to help in the battle. However, the cat refused to devour these zombies, claiming they tasted bland. Kang realized that these zombies were actually detainees from a detention center, transformed into undead. Now he understood their teeth grinding. He wondered aloud why the world had so many crazy people, but his cat quickly told Kay that he was one to talk. Blackie asked if what the protagonist did was any different from what these people did. Kang tried to argue back, insisting his actions were completely different. Blackie simply stated that humans just made their lives more complicated. Kang finally agreed that humans were indeed different. Anyway, he decided to face the zombies. He charged into battle alone. His system displayed an alert. A zombie fungus is now on his weapon. Kang continues to attack the undead. Soon, the zombies he hit suddenly turn against their masters, shooting the very necromancers who summoned them. The cultists try to run, they try to hide, but their own zombies devour them alive. Kang just watches the chaos when someone approaches and asks if he finally understands how strong necromancy is. The gravedigger wonders who would believe the hero king caused all this mess. Kang points out there's also an American general around. It turns out to be George Belmere, the honorary leader, and he's not happy that Kilgore is in his territory. But then he tells Kay to forget about it and shows off his uniform, bragging that even though it's not like real-world uniforms, it's still super cool. Kang immediately tells the old man to act his age and stop being so childish. He even adds that the uniform looks like something a terrorist would wear. The gravedigger detects Kang's celestial demonic powers, but declares he won't lose. He then takes the Tomb Lord's stance. Kang asks how a busybody like him got a legendary skill. The old man has the same question upon seeing the hero king with the Plague Lord's lamp. He claims Kang is just a descendant of a common celestial demon. He even asserts that the magic lamp should have been his. Ready for a fight, Kang switches to his secondary deck, swapping Awaken the Dead for Ice Smiths. The jerk asks if Kang thinks he doesn't need the power of a monarch to fight him. Kang replies that there's no point in fighting a necromancer. The jerk then retorts that the hero king's tongue has gotten quite sharp while they were apart. They know the monarchs are watching, so the fight begins. The old man's power immediately nullifies the poison that Kang used on the zombies, consuming it completely. He declares that ashes are meant to return to ashes. The old man sends out an army of skeletons, but Kang activates a skill and equips the darkness. His system screams an alert. Kang's evasion and dexterity. York knows he's facing someone resistant to darkness. He also knows that his skeletons aren't that strong, but claims he can see everything from his position. He even argues that necromancers aren't bad at close-quarters combat. But as he attacks, he realizes that Kang used an illusion spell. The ice sword, however, is very real. Kang tells him that what he sees isn't everything. Kang guessed that the old man relied on invisible beings and wanted to test that. The old man gets totally annoyed, wondering why he, of all people, had to run into the hero king. He truly thought it was foolish to waste such a rare opportunity. Next time, he would definitely win, but then a strange feeling hit him. He quickly realized there might not be a next time. He doubted himself. Players weren't supposed to kill each other inside the tower, right? But the doubt just ate away at him. The old man screamed in pure desperation. His system suddenly showed a warning. The immortal monarch had blocked York's path out of the tower. Meanwhile, our protagonist Kang was totally mocking the defeated monarch. The immortal monarch, standing among the other monarchs, took a huge blow. Kang felt a real thrill watching the other monarchs react. Then, his system popped up. He had cleared the tower's alternate history and, for that, he received a new accessory, the Executioner's Oath. Some time passed and Kang finally returned home. The news of his insane achievements had already spread everywhere. Kang even gave an interview with the general, telling everyone he just had to answer the call for help from such an important person. He also took the opportunity to send a message directly to York, asking if he had to look for help just to compete against the hero Kang. Meanwhile, York was watching Kang's provocations and was absolutely furious. He immediately ordered his assistant to send a message to Mr. Lee, the person they spoke with before. York told him he would need to visit South Korea very soon. Back at the interview, Kilgore finally told Kang to shut up. Kang casually apologized, saying he just had a bad habit of not staying quiet in front of cameras, but then the reporters wanted to hear from the general too. The general stated that, as a true patriot, he only had one thing to say: country above all and God above everyone. Of course, Kang never missed a chance to get under his skin, but then some serious-looking men approached and invited him to come with them. Kang quickly deduced they must be from the CIA. They showed their badges, so Kang asked directly if they were real. Kilgore confirmed that they were. Kang then pointed out that their lives usually depended on keeping things secret. Was it really okay for them to just show their faces like that? One of the agents told Kang to stop joking and cooperate, but Kang flatly refused. He said his boss had told him never to follow strangers. He even added that he'd rather follow. Kilgore called the CIA. However, agents quickly grabbed him and took him away by force. Kilgore quickly told everyone that this was just for Kang's safety, trying to calm the press who had witnessed it all. Photos of Kang being captured instantly went viral around the world. As soon as Park saw it, he immediately told his assistant to track Kang's location. He even tried to call Kang's phone but couldn't get through. Meanwhile, the agents had taken Kang to a secret CIA safe house in New York City. One of them informed Kang that they were preparing a private VIP jet just for him for tomorrow. Kang wondered if a private jet was really necessary. An agent explained that it was already March, and a commercial flight would only put more people at risk of terrorist attacks. Kang suggested using a tower that led to Korea, but the agents quickly shot him down, saying they hadn't found any such tower in the U.S. However, they did find one that connected to North Korea. That was definitely forbidden. It could start a full-scale war. Kang asked for some time to sleep until his flight, but the moment he closed his eyes, the agents completely freaked out. Kang immediately wanted to know what the problem was. This time, a female agent explained that something strange was happening with this whole situation. Headquarters had even approved the disclosure of the information to Kang. The agent then handed over the details for Kang to see for himself. Kang clutched his phone, horrified by what he saw. The scene looked like something out of a horror movie. The agent explained that it happened in East Harlem, just 3 kilometers away. It was about 4 hours after Kang cleared his last tower. Kang then examined the card left at the crime scene. He knew instantly that the face collector had appeared again, but Kang couldn't help but wonder why now and why here of all places. He thought this was a direct attack, a deliberate provocation. He then stood up, instantly making the agents nervous. Kang declared that he was going to teach this guy a lesson. He told the agents not to just stand there. They needed to show him the location, especially since the great CIA apparently found this psychopath's whereabouts so quickly. Meanwhile, in the heart of the Big Apple, the killer known as the Face Collector was doing what he did best. The Mirror Monarch thanked him for his work. With that, the psychopath took on the face of a woman. He received a new order. The time had come and he couldn't make any mistakes. Shortly after, he confirmed to someone with the codename M that he understood. The Mirror Monarch then encouraged the player, telling him he could become whatever he wanted, even the legendary Hero King. This made Kang start analyzing the true powers of the Abyss. He knew that some players in the Abyss, also called the Unranked Realm, deliberately avoided using equipment or skill cards. They even hid their names on the leaderboards. These players were known as Powers of the Abyss. They could be intelligence agents from various countries who needed to hide their identities or special operations forces. Or worse, they could be hidden criminal players waiting for an opportunity to commit more crimes. The Collector was definitely one of these, infamous for killing many people from the Celestial Realm. Kang thought to himself that if he had known they would meet like this, he definitely would have asked that woman for more details. It suddenly made sense why he had been called to the tower connected to the U.S. It was all a trap. They wanted to put Kang and the Collector in the same place. After a while, they arrived at the location. Kang walked through the streets, quickly realizing that the agents had blocked off the entire area. But right away, Kang knew the killer wasn't there. Kang arrives at the location from the photo. He makes it clear that he's not a detective. His job is to fight, so he wonders why he's there. But then one of the agents steps forward, pulls out a mask, a skin mask, and calmly places it over a previously severed, lifeless face. And just like that, the body rises. Not just that one, but everybody around also begins to get up. Kang immediately demands to know what this guy thinks he's doing. The agent simply throws the question back at him, asking Kang to think. More agents start putting on their own skin masks. The lead agent then reveals the truth. This entire setup was a calculated trap designed specifically to capture the Hero King, but Kang was already one step ahead. He had practically been expecting something like this all along. He starts to prepare for a massive fight, declaring that the Hero King's true specialty is, in fact, falling right into a trap. With that, he unsheathed his dual weapons and charged at the enemies. The transformed individuals began to close in as he readied his weapon to defend himself. He quickly slices through one of the enemies. Then, with a swift move, he lands a kick right on another attacker's chin, but another enemy swings a sword, and he blocks it with his arm. Everyone in the room starts talking at once, asking if he didn't think that ability was incredibly powerful. This leaves Kang completely in shock. His eyes widen as he sees them all acting like identical zombies. He puts a hand on his hip, cracks a smile, and declares that it's more like something truly weird. Then, a voice from the back of the room says that, as expected, he isn't that strong, and that M is the only one who recognizes him. Our protagonist demands to know who this M is. Is he the head of the secret organization, the one that was formed by powers from the abyss? The voice confirms it, adding that even without their leader, they have already defeated countless players from the celestial realm, just like him. Kang admits that defeating this enemy might be a bit troublesome. Just then, one of his opponents snaps his fingers. The entire environment begins to magically change. The voice tells him not to worry at all. They are now in a completely different place. It looks like a coliseum or something of the sort. Kang immediately recognizes it as a barrier skill, one that creates a subspace. With a disgusted expression, he mutters that it seems the face collector really planned all of this out very carefully, in advance. The enemies charge at him, but our protagonist remains calm. He can't believe the face collector actually planned to eliminate the hero king. He spins around, blocking every incoming attack with instantly formed ice shields, and starts shooting at them mercilessly with a pistol. Kang remarks that the world is practically ending, and this guy still wants to keep playing the big evil villain. It's as if this guy doesn't even see how hard Kang is fighting to maintain world peace. He just launches an ice projectile straight into an opponent's face. Kang keeps firing, his expression now irritated, completely out of patience. The relentless enemies keep coming, but Kang takes them down one by one with his ice bullets. Suddenly, a man in a stylish suit with bangs covering one eye appears in the corner. He asks what the big deal is. He slowly approaches, walking past the frozen enemies, asking if this isn't entertaining. For him, the real fun is watching the world burn. He offers a sadistic smile. He then uses his hands to shatter the ice head of one of the frozen men. He wants to see the chaos of the first season's towers, the endless screams and every street burning to dust. They all want that. But that's not why they're here to kill Kang. The villain rips a piece of skin from the face of the decapitated ice sculpture. He places the piece of skin on his own face. Then he tells Kang to pay attention, calling him a wannabe hero and a brat. The villain's face begins to change, and with an evil smile, he says the world will go on perfectly fine, even without its hero. He asks Kang if he really thinks the world revolves around him, if he is its only guardian. Kang's expression turns serious, but then the villain adds that this world isn't one that would end so easily, even if the hero king disappeared completely. As he says this, some of his minions start charging a dagger with energy, because if one hero king falls, a new one will simply appear. With that said, all the enemies lunge forward to attack Kang with fury, but Kang skillfully dodges the sword strikes, leaning his body back. The villain then gets an idea. He'll rip off Kang's face himself and become the hero king. Kang's voice is firm. He calls him useless trash. A reject, a newbie who didn't even make it to a season boss raid. He then unleashes an overwhelming energy, spreading his arms wide. All nearby enemies are sent flying, shattered, or blown to bits. That's why Kang thinks the guy shouldn't speak with such arrogance and conviction. The opponent retorts that he only skipped the raid because there's no reward at the end of the season. In his opinion, only idiots participate in that crap. Kang tells him that if he